What is there to misunderstand about there being several things? What would you like to know? We got plenty of explanations here.
What these several things are.
That's all we're getting in episode 7 is explanation after explanation. Obviously, we don't have to... We're definitely not doing it in very roundabout ways for a while. It's all very straightforward answers going on here. I don't know what you're talking about, Shadow.
Exactly.
Hello, are we here? I've only heard Shadow so far. Okay. Wow. Amazing. What are we dying? Are we all dying? Wake up.
Death is good.
No dying. Also,
I like death. Big fan of death.
Ari still has the PNG tuber up.
Death is eternal.
Yeah, and?
And?
I can't get the cards that I need for this deck.
And?
Oh, she's mauled.
Yusha is live.
Yeah, but more importantly, we're live. You ever think of that?
Nuh-uh.
I think we are live. Also, why is Shadow's image a sphere? What is happening here?
Hold on.
Why are you a
Hold on.
sphere? What have you done?
Hold on.
Did you put just a circle for your Discord image?
I sure did.
Why would you do this? Who has done this to you? Who's made you this way? What happened?
Okay, hold on. I need to fix this then. Shit. Do I have...
I still can't even fathom what the fuck is happening to Shadow Man in that image. Anyways, what did you do to him?
He got killed by a sniper fire. He's contemplating his life decisions at this point.
He gets turned into a sphere? I would contemplate my life decisions too if I was turned into a sphere.
You can relate to him.
He's balling.
Literally.
He's balling. I want to make sure we got our streams up here. I see Twitch. I see the YouTubes. And most importantly, I see the kicks. Okay. So many kick viewers. So many kick viewers. Every week, everybody's asking, oh, when's the next kick stream? They're always asking me this.
And they're not asking you this.
They are always asking me this. Always. And I always tell them the same thing. It's not happening. And then I hit live on it anyways. They don't understand what I'm talking about. But that's just because I'm fucking with the bots over there.
Do I have a non-circular image?
How do you not have a most images are not circular by default. How do you not have a non-circular image? What is happening?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, you guys get started. I'll fix this.
Can't do anything with any of you.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, I gotta hit this thing. Gonna post about the things, and then we do the ping. You're all gonna get frickin' pinged. Boom. Wow. And I actually made sure I put the right link. Can you believe it? That's amazing. That's astounding. Okay, little mini update about the Call of Cthulhu campaign. The Umineko Cthulhu. I'm having the opposite problem with my players now. Where we are too focused on thinking that a witch could not have done this before. They are too focused on thinking a witch has to be the cause of all this stuff. They are not even attempting to solve these fucking things.
They've already constructed.
Half the time they're not even considering talking to certain family members because they're like, we just got to get into the chapel. That chapel says like quadrillion to 1 on the fucking top. We got to get into it.
I mean,
they're gonna be real disappointed when they're gonna be real disappointed when I let them in the chapel and there's fucking nothing in there.
But yeah, fuck off.
Like I was just like, yeah, you see a couple of servants. I was like, yeah, you see a couple servants had like cleaned up the place and then they locked it up and left, and they're like, oh shit, they locked it. All right, let's try to lock pick it. They kept failing to lock pick, and I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And then when they do keep trying next week, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to like physically break into it next week. And when they do, there's going to be nothing in there. And they're going to be like, well, what the fuck do we do? And Beatrice is going to be like, solve the epitaph. Beatrice is not showing up for them yet, but she will once people start
Did you
dying.
at least make the epitaph different?
No, it's exactly the same. Because again, the purpose of it, much with Umineko, is that it's not supposed to be solvable, okay? We learned this week. It is not supposed to be solvable. This is bullshit.
Readers.
No, even by Japanese readers, that's not fucking solvable. What do you mean? Alright, we'll get into that. Don't worry, we'll get into that.
You know
But
what? You know what? I bet Turando would have been able to solve it.
Listen.
Person, okay?
But okay, so that was one angle of the Cthulhu campaign, was that stuff. The other thing was one of the members of the group who's supposed to be the occult researcher in the group. He actually researched this shit. He was not there this week, but before he decided to leave, last week, before we ended the session, he decided one of the members of their group survived with some of his stuff that stayed, and the things that stayed was like a bag with like a gun and some drugs, various types of drugs. And he decided, this other person decided, I would like to take some LSD, please. And he was like, so how much do you want? Well, I want like a whole fucking dropper or whatever. And he's like, you're going to be out for like a fucking week. He's like, yeah. And we're like, the murders last like 2 days, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, he was not there. They gave him like a smaller dose or whatever, but he's tripping balls, and I'm having like him following around like golden butterflies around the mansion that aren't actually there and shit. He's getting all sorts of fucked.
That's funny.
Been well documented. Jeff Bezos, the anime.
Hey, he's the occult researcher. He's the guy that they need for a lot of that stuff too. And he's like, I just want to drop some LSD real quick. It'll open up a connection between me and the spiritual world. So far, all I did with that was like, you see a couple other visions of other scenes that you're not technically supposed to see, things like that. Like, I think I showed him the scene of Kinzo throwing the ring out the window, being like, Beatrice, take it, take everything, kill everyone, or some shit like that. The murders have not started yet. Yeah. Also, they keep fucking with me every time when it comes to like, all right, it's time to eat. They're like, okay, well, what exactly are they serving? I'm like, you motherfuckers. You're like, it's fancy fucking food, better than you've ever eaten before in your life. Fucking, what's his name? Goda calls it calf steak. And someone's like, was that veal? He calls it calf steak. What do you want from me?
I'm the game master, not Goda.
There's some other funny bits that happened that night too, but I'm not gonna get all it. It's gonna be a lot if I go into it. So let me make sure that everything is all good.
Am I no longer circular? Am I good?
You are good. You are square. Yes. Oh no, we do have to wait 3 minutes for ads. We have to wait 3 minutes for ads. What do you mean? God damn it! Are you not supposed to be a square?
So I was sitting here with Shadow, fucking chilling, playing the new Pokemon TCG Pocket. And suddenly, in the middle of it, Shadow and I are having a wonderful conversation, by the way. I suddenly get a text from one of my friends that's just, hey, in urgent care right now, keep me in your thoughts. And I totally dead ass thought I was gonna have to be like, hey guys, I can't do stream. My friend's in urgent care and I need to go help him. Turns out that was not the case. Bro just has COVID. But that was alarming to get about, I shit you not, less than 10 minutes ago.
Oh, damn.
To be fair, like, you must be good friends, because that's exactly the type of thing I would expect from you to pull.
What?
I haven't seen this guy face to face since my birthday last year. Maybe.
Oh.
I knew him in like middle school, I guess.
Well, that's how you know that you're good friends with them.
Well, that's the thing, is he's not the kind of person that I would expect to message me saying,
Yeah,
hey, I'm in urgent care right now.
Yeah, that sounds weird. It's like, yeah, I might be dying. This might be it for me. Oh, you got COVID. This might be the end.
Not only that, but I think that he messaged everybody that he messaged them separately. So then I get a Discord DM from my best friend like, hey, did this person text you saying they're in urgent care? And I was like, yeah, I was worried that I was gonna have to like leave the house. And they were like, me too.
That was making me think for a second, like, if other people are getting the message too, and they're like, "Oh, we never heard from this in a while." I'm like thinking, like, "Oh, this is a spammer scam thing trying to get people to send money to like a GoFundMe or some shit." That was where my mind went at first.
I think they're just actually dying. I don't tell you, Chef.
Literally he said COVID and low body temp, and I was like, oh well, all right. Like my immediate thought was, oh, you're like going in for surgery because you had a metal bar impale your chest or something. Nah.
Is that the first thing?
What? Yeah. Wait. Can we talk about that? Hold on. What has happened? What? Just texting with a metal rod sticking through. This is it. This is the end. I had to message you specifically.
Because I don't know. I don't expect people to message me that they're in urgent care because of COVID.
So you expect them to message you because they have a giant metal rod running through them?
Listen, if somebody messaged me saying that they're in urgent care, I'm expecting them to be, you know what, dying from like actual traumatic injuries, not fucking COVID. Okay, if you're dying from COVID,
listen,
keep that to yourself.
A building has collapsed on top of me, and I wish to message you specifically. I've not talked to you in a year, but I want to message you specifically about this. Okay, there's a giant fucking building on top of me, and I just want you to mention it during book club tonight. All right. Thoughts and prayers, thank you. Oh, pray for the building to get off me.
My problem with this statement, though.
Huh?
If it actually happened and Nyan couldn't be here, I would just say that's an excuse that they didn't finish.
True. That's exactly what I would think.
Why am I even? You guys, you don't even want me here at this point.
What is that? How does that make you think that? How does that make you think that?
You guys are so mean to me.
How's that even be mean to you?
Like, as well established within these chapters, the friendship is built on insults.
We did hear that. That was a line. This is Umineko. This is very Umineko coded in this conversation right now. I must say.
So book close Umineko coded.
I must say. All right, are we ready to begin? Let us take away the pre-show, and we shall begin. Ooh. All right, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. You can find all the links at wolfborg.com. We are here continuing our discussion on Umineko When They Cry, the manga, episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch. The answers continue. And I use the word answers with air quotes that you can't see me physically doing. But there are answers, but there's also a lot of delays with these answers. Vagueness with these answers, but we'll get into that. But before we get into that, let's introduce all the members of our commentary cast for this week, starting in alphabetical order as usual with myself, Battlerborg, aka Wolfborg, aka Chaplain, aka the best host of every and all anime book clubs ever. There's no other book clubs out there, just this one, and I host the best one. Umineko's interesting. I'm starting to think parts of it are stupid, but we'll get into that. Umineko Cthulhu, as I briefly mentioned during the pre-show, has been interesting. I've had the opposite effect happen, where we started Umineko being worried about, like, obviously a witch didn't do it, must be a person who did it, so we're trying to focus on, like, okay, what's the actual thing that's happening? They're having the opposite problem because it's a Call of Cthulhu campaign, so they're immediately assuming a witch must be responsible. So I'm having the opposite problem with that one, so I don't really know where to go with that one. Would I recommend anything? I don't think I would recommend anything this week. I can't think of anything I would recommend this week. I heard there's another Death Note social deduction game coming out.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them now.
I won't lie. I took a look at the trailer because I was like, oh, get another one? And I kind of didn't like how it looked. But that's a whole different thing. We'll probably still... I didn't like how it looked. I don't know what to tell you. Did you see how it looks?
Yeah.
How did you feel? See, I can't, this is what happens. Anyways, next up we have Shadow Man. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shadow. The thing I recommend is going to your local museum and visiting your long-lost relative, the Dimetrodon.
Yeah. Dinosaurs.
That's not a dinosaur, it's a mammal. What the fuck are you talking about?
What is
Yeah, Andy.
What are there are so many things going wrong with this conversation right now. I don't even know where to begin with dissecting this.
Yeah,
Introduce yourself.
Do you have anything else to say, Shadow?
No, I need you to dissect this. Come on, go on.
No, we have enough dissect to go on with Umineko. Next up, we have Nyan. Introduce yourself.
Howard.
Hi, I'm Nyan. You may also hear me referred to as Andy. You should follow Trap's Blue Sky account.
Yes, do that. It's a great profile.
Did I cause this?
You can shout out your Blue Sky too. You're allowed to.
No.
Listen, I'm trying here. I'm trying.
I was looking at my Andy list and I was trying to figure out. I had a friend that asked me to recommend a manga for them to read for class, and I was like, I think what I ended up boiling it down to was like, you could read the first volume of Dorohedoro. I think that's appropriate to read at work if you're only reading the first volume. Or you could read the slightly racist Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doujin. That's
fuck?
Also an option.
Why are these like the first two options you have available?
This is why we're doing book club to teach you and Shadow more manga.
Hold on. These are my genuine recommendations. Hatsune Miku wa Cute, The Enigma of Amagira Fault. Love that one. So everybody should read that. I Am a Hero I liked, so I said if you're going to read only one volume, maybe that would be one to give it a shot. Dorohedoro, the first volume. I did recommend Soloist in a Cage, since that's on the shorter side. And then Menheta-chan, but that's not really everybody's cup of tea. So anyway, those are my recommendations if you want something to read.
Wow. So if you're interested in any short things to check out those. Next up, we have Ari. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Requiem. I like shonen shit, and I'm the one forcing them to read Umineko.
Wow. So you're the one we can blame for what's happening now. You're the one we can blame. All right.
Umineko Tsubasa today, actually.
Do you want to explain to viewers listening what Tsubasa is?
It's it's kind of what we would call a fan disc, which is basically, I think that term's really only used for visual novels and visual novel-esque games.
I think so.
Basically, it's like a sequel, but it's not really a sequel. It's more of like a spin-off kind of thing that's just for fans of the first game, is like usually either like a comedy thing or like to see more scenarios that could have happened, or like if it's a dating sim, it would be different routes for characters that didn't get routes in the first one. And for Umineko, it's specifically just side stories that are pretty much most of them are comedy ones. Just like, what if Battler and Bito had Valentine's Day before they got married?
I have to interrupt with something extremely important.
Oh no.
I went to look up Gap because I wanted to look at pictures of Gap. And I instead got generally accepted accounting principles.
Yeah, Shadow mentioned this before. He mentioned it before.
I've never seen that mentioned. Sorry.
That's favorite all. Gap.
Accounting principles. Okay. That's all. That's all. Yep, that's it.
Thank you for that. Anything else, Ari?
Nope.
Okay, so go check out, what was it, Umineko Tsubasa, you said? Go check that out if you're interested, and you've finished the series, I'm assuming. You have to finish it to get into it?
Yeah, it's specifically just for, like, after the game, because it's kind of like, yeah, you get to see, like, Valentine's with Bito and Battler, but the funny part of it is because you know that Bito's in love with him before they actually get married and stuff. But it's of course, it was released at Comic-Con VN, but it's also a manga, and I think the manga has more stories. I don't know. I'll have to see.
All right. Well, go check that out if you are interested in that. And now it is time to begin our discussion for this week's volumes of Umineko When They Cry, Episode 7. We read volumes 4 to 6. How are we feeling about our answers, everybody? So, okay. Why? Just, all right. Last week, they was already at a point, and I mentioned this too, where it was like, it's time to finally reveal who Beatrice is or whatever, who's the culprit is, and it's like, all right, so here's the story of this girl named Yasu, and like she was this thing, she was friends with Shannon, I guess. There's like all this other stuff that happened. I guess she would talk to Beatrice sometimes. I'm like, you're doing this to me again, Umineko. You're doing this to me again. You told me we were getting answers, and you're like, here's like a metaphorical story. Here's another metaphorical story.
Just a metaphor of
here's another metaphorical story presented as a stage play, which uses existing characters that we've already seen as the actors for several of the characters. It's like, oh, here's Gap, but she's gonna say that her name is Beatrice right now, and I'm like, you motherfucker, like, and they're like, oh, eventually we'll just name her Gap, and I'm like, you're gonna do this to me? This is what you're doing to me? And I'm like, the whole time,
if you know who the culprit is.
The whole time for like 3 weeks, we're like, okay, so it's Shannon. It's Shannon. We're like, it's Shannon. And now we're here, and it's like, okay, so it definitely is Shannon, but it's not directly saying it's Shannon yet. Like, why? We're like at the point where she's like talking with all these like different Beatrices that basically came from her, and she's like, well, but I'm Shannon, you know. And then it's like, also we. Listen, there's okay. Where do we even begin? So we're looking more at the backstory of Yasu, who was a servant. Supposedly, from what our understanding is, supposedly was the baby that got yeeted off the cliff by Natsuhi, but in this version of events, Genji hid them as like a separate servant at the gospel home. That's what it's called, the gospel home, right? Hid them there as a different child, not as the Beatrice's child, because Kinzo did some sus, I shouldn't even say sus, criminal things. Things. Highly criminal things.
Disgusting things.
And Genji was like, okay, well, Natsuhi just tried to eat this baby too, so maybe we shouldn't try to test our luck here by giving them back to Kinzo, so let's not do that. Hid them away, they've been growing up, and the main thing with them as they're growing up is, I mean, we suspected, I mean, I at least highly suspected, that a lot of the other servants were just bullying her, taking her shit, hiding it, and then pretending like she lost it or whatever, when really, makes Yasu feel like she's doing a shit job. Also, I forget what her name is supposed to be, but she doesn't like being called Yasu. I don't remember what that was in reference to. I'm assuming that's just not her name, and they just started calling her Yasu, but I don't know why that was as much of an insult to her. I don't know if Yasu is supposed to mean something specifically, or if it's just the fact that it's not her name. But they kept calling her Yasu, would give her shit,
Yasu
would always...
is a nickname.
Yeah, okay. They would always just assume that, like, oh, somebody's lost something, it must have been Yasu, because they're just pinning the blame on her or whatever. And they will, like, it seems like... I don't think it's like implicitly shown to us, but it seems like they would just take things like, oh, you left a broom in the chapel, and then like they can't find it or whatever because they've hidden it somewhere else or whatever. But I think we start off this week with her trying to search through the chapel for... Okay, what's up?
Okay, the other servants look like the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, just straight up.
That was what I was going to say. Again, that's one of those things where it's just reusing the existing cast that we already know.
So in the this has already been shown like in the channels here, but like in the visual novel, it's literally their sprites, but on Shannon's body.
Shannon's body? Hold on.
Yeah. Let me grab the...
Because I still remember last week of young Kinzo just being Battler reskinned.
Now that's real. That one was really egregious at the beginning.
I can't do the hold on. I need to think of a funny name. Frajishiki? I can't. Sorry.
What?
Huh?
What?
I'm trying to do Frajimoto, but Fuyukishi instead.
Oh, instead of Frajimoto, yeah. You're not getting one that works. But no, it's be fraud. You need the word fraud incorporated. That was the joke. Because instead of Fujimoto, it's Frajimoto, but you can't do it with Ryukishi. Reuse Kyushi. There you go. Reuse Kyushi.
Ryukishi.
So,
emphasis on the RE.
So Yasu, I think we start off with this one with Yasu being like, I've had it with all these fucking pranks that keep happening with me. Or was that the end of last week? No, that was the beginning of this week. / the beginning of this week, because the beginning of this one is her like panicking, looking around the chapel for it, and then it just keeps moving, and it's because Beatrice, aka Gap, as shown to us, is like just making it teleport around everywhere so she can't actually find it or can't get it.
We were trolling.
Which, obviously, with my battler hat on right now, okay, obviously isn't really happening. Metaphorical, okay? Because now she's basically at a breaking point where she's like, I'm not the one losing these things. It must be something else. And I think she's also remembering the stories from like Kumasawa or whatever, which is influencing her to think that kind of stuff. So she's like, it must be the witch. And then in her mind, she's like conjuring up the image of Gab / Beatrice, who's like talking to her. Well, I think at first they don't have a physical form, and then eventually they do after they like do some weird, again, metaphorical things happening in the chapel. Like I think Yasu is floating at some point. There's a lot happening, but the message I got of it was she had her Joker moment, and she's like, okay, I now have. I now have a imaginary friend, Witch Beatrice, who I am going to talk to, who is the one who must be the explanation for all these pranks being pulled. She's just pranking me specifically.
Big fan of Joker too.
I think she was just like, why can't we just be friends instead? Why do you have to take all my shit? And Beatrice is just like, oh, it's fun. I'm gonna keep doing it. You can't really stop me. Fuck you. And I think later on Yasu is taught by like Kumasawa, like, well, why don't you just like fucking tie the keys to your clothes so you don't lose them? But like she phrases it as she's treating her like a younger child, being like, well, the real way to stop all these things from disappearing, you just got to make sure you use these like threads to keep them attached. These are like spirit threads. We gotta all these objects that you keep supposedly losing, they're going to cry out. They want to go home as soon as possible, so you don't have them out longer than is needed. So you got to bring them back, or else they're going to be sad that they're not home. Things like that, talking to a child. Which, again, at this point, she's still portrayed as like a very, very small-looking child. Meanwhile, Shannon's supposed to be like much older looking, but this is years and years and years before we actually get to the events of things that happen. So, it's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, so this is just Shannon, but we also want Shannon to be there too, I guess, because, again, I still don't know fully if this is supposed to be multiple personalities or if this is supposed to be something different. I don't know what's going on with that angle of it specifically. But in my head, with all this, I'm just like, okay, we had a Joker moment, now Beatrice is there. Shannon's been there from the start, but this is like Yasu's idealized version of the servants, someone that she can look up to. But that's just another imaginated thing or like multiple personality thing or something to that effect that she's just perceiving at this time and is acting like is a person that's actually there, when really it is all like within Shannon's body, but maybe it's not necessarily identified as Shannon until like later on or something like that. Things to that effect. The confrontation with Beatrice Gap happens. They're pretty quickly like enemies to like teasing enemies to like friends or something like that, because eventually they're like pretty quickly like they're like, oh, what are these books you're reading, these mystery novels, are these tales of witches? Oh well, no, there's an actual solution to these, and once you get the actual solution at the end, it's no longer like a magic trick thing. There's an actual solution. And Beatrice is just like, well, what if I just tear out the last page? We just get rid of the solution, and therefore it's a witch's trick in the end. It's the witch wins because nobody has solved it. Things like, I think they literally talk about, and then they were done in this as well, right? I think that was literally what they talk about.
It's directly like I don't remember if it was the first mystery novel she read, but it's like her favorite one, because that one
was the direct inspiration for Umineko, right?
Yeah, it was one of the many inspirations for it, but it's definitely got quite a few beats that are similar to it. But that one, the original publication of it did not have the answers at all in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It just ends. So the plot is that everyone on the island dies. Spoiler, it's a murder mystery. Everyone dies.
What?
And the wrap-up,
No!
the wrap-up at the end of the original publication was that some police were investigating, and they were basically giving their brief, and they're like, yeah, but it's weird how everybody on the island was dead, but yet we know that somebody was alive on the island after everybody died, because... And then there was some evidence that clearly only somebody who was alive could have done. So that, it just ends there, where it's like, wait a second, somebody was alive, but by the time the police came, they're all dead. And then in later subsequent releases, it actually had a message in a bottle that was retrieved,
right,
that actually explained the crimes, or at least
can't believe they stole that from
version
Umineko.
of the crime.
Oh no!
They stole it from Umineko. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
It was just the way the crimes were committed.
Yeah,
It was just one.
Right.
Sure thing, Ari.
And then Bito's like, but what if I did multiple?
What if I did more than once? It was so good. Message ball too, baby.
Exactly.
So Yasu got like fixated on like mystery novels and stuff like that because, you know, she's already having this sort of pseudo friendship with Beatrice and all the witches' tricks and all that. Once her other servants who like started the job with her, they sort of, I shouldn't say graduate, they just sort of leave after a while, and Yasu just stays there or whatever. And then she gets new servants that she has to be the senior for. She's starting to play tricks on them now. A lot of witches tricks that she's learned, but she's like, my tricks are more advanced. You're not just losing shit. You're keeping shit, but only losing very specific shit in weird ways. You have a ring of keys. You're not losing that ring of keys. You're losing one key on the ring. And you're going to ask yourself, how the fuck did that happen? And you're not going to have the answer. I mean, the answer to me is...
That was Gap. What are you talking about?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that was obviously Gap. Yeah.
One thing to note, though, is that before that, though, she was able to kind of overcome Bito Gap, whatever. I'm just going to call her Gap. Because Kumasawa taught her some magic.
Yeah, magic.
She taught her the magic of, you know, keeping your keys on your holster.
It's very important magic.
Place for things to go back to.
And then Gap was like, hey, so that magic, you can extend that and make it more evil. You can just fuck with people's things. You know exactly where they're going to be. So why don't you just fuck with it? Why don't you use these, like, threads and start fucking with shit? Yeah.
I mean, really, Kumasawa just taught her basic ADHD coping mechanisms. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
It is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, that's just the accounting experience. Because then I can just evade taxes, huh?
Is that what we're doing? Are we finally, is that evading taxes? That's a witch's trick? Finally.
Look, how do you think Kinzo got away with all the gold?
The IRS is never going to catch us. We got Beatrice on our side. All right, so because I remember there was like a whole confrontation with like the old servants where they're like, it must have been Yasu. Yasu must have lost her keys, and she's like, no, I got them right here. They're like tied to me. They're like, oh fuck, actually it was me. I lost my keys. How's that even possible? I didn't do that.
It was Lucifer that lost her keys. Lucifer,
yeah, of course.
Bride.
Naturally.
Common Lucifer L. I don't know what to say.
I mean, hey, it starts with an L, so this is how that goes.
Damn.
So, all that kind of stuff is happening. I was losing it when we already had the old servants left and we had new servants, and we were still getting into more shit, even with the new servants. Where like one of them is like having an existential crisis over the fact that one of her keys from her ring went missing. She's like, what, how did that? And the other one's just like, you should just assume Yasu took it. It's probably Yasu just fucking with you. It's just Yasu, because it probably is Yasu fucking with you. But she's like, no, it's too weird for it to just be Yasu. It must be something else. It must be a witch. It's just too weird for Yasu to have done it. Yasu was with me the whole time at one point, so obviously Yasu couldn't have been involved. There's no way. How would I have known without like hearing the keys jingling or whatever? How is it possible? I didn't know the full details of some of the stuff. She was just like, one of my keys went missing on the ring. How did one ring go missing from the ring? I would have noticed if somebody was trying to pull one off. It's very fucking annoying and difficult to do. And I'm just like, yeah, but what if someone just swapped out your ring for her ring, and her ring just has one less key already pre-prepared. What if that happened? We don't bring that up at all. But that was immediately where my head went out with that.
No, because it's a witch.
Oh yeah,
Why did
obviously.
you bring that up?
You know, sorry, I'm ruining the magic. My bad. Beatrice is gonna like hurt me. Is how they feel. She's gonna hurt you. You're gonna get tortured if you don't believe in her. Okay, you gotta respect Beatrice. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer.
Careful.
And then Yasu was just like, all right, my prank was successful against one girl, but that other girl kept saying it must have been me. So now I gotta get her next. She's gonna suffer. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, what is happening?
What are your keys?
What was happening? So, anyways. Like I said, I'm reading through these things and it's like Act 3, Act 4, Act 5, Act 7. When does the play stop? When does it stop? How many acts do we have to this little metaphorical play? Please. Like, I get the point. I get it.
So we just got to the chapter infinite. Sorry, chap, you're fucked.
Apparently. And like eventually the thing happens where now that Yasu has done her tricks, she has become like being a witch is actually fucking cool. I think I've just decided I'm done being a servant. That's just boring. My planet needs me. I'm gonna become a witch now. And she just kind of floats away and is like, "Good luck, Shannon." And Shannon's like, "What? What the fuck? What is happening?" And
I feel like this image is a good representation.
And then Shannon is just who is left over right now from the personalities, I guess. While Gap slash old Beatrice, I guess, and
0.5.
Well, I'll show the meme that you did. I reject my humanity. There you go, that meme. There you go.
Get it.
Yeah. So Yasu just kind of ascends to being a witch, and
is that easy?
Apparently, you could just do that. So they're just like, okay, so you're gonna forget all about me now, Shannon. Good luck being a servant forever.
Have fun.
And Shannon's like, huh, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Did I always just have one bed in here?
It's not important.
Anyways, I guess it's time to continue back being a servant forever. And then
I thought it was interesting when that happened that for like 3 pages they didn't show her face, as if we didn't know that it was Shannon.
Yeah.
Like what was the point of that?
Listen, you don't know. You don't know. You're not sure who that is. You don't know who the culprit is anymore. You don't know who could possibly be at this point.
I don't know who anybody is anymore.
It's
definitely. Oh my god.
And then so Yasu disappears. Shannon goes back to being the perfect servant that they are. And Yasu's just kind of up there in the metaphysical world with Gap being like, okay, let's create some like lore for some things. So I'm going to get this look. This is what I'm going to look like. I think I'll call myself Claire. And you, I haven't come up with a name for you yet, but we'll think of something for you later. Which is later. It's like, oh, I guess we'll make you Gap.
It was a long time later.
Later. She wasn't even the one that came up with it. It was Nadia.
Yeah. It was later on when they get Maria involved. We're like, okay, wait, we have to have like a fanfic session here. Okay, we're gonna come up with the lore for all the stuff that we're coming up with. They come up with all the Sisters of Purgatory and like all their like designs and stuff. They're like literally having like an OC fanfic like session in there. They're like, having a creative session about witches and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, so. And this is Sakutaro. He's based on my Sakutaro. This is what he would look like if he was.
It was
like,
he's exactly my size, and he's like my bestest friend, and he's got the fluffiest.
And he's also a cat boy.
What would this butler guy be named? I think Runaway. It's pretty close to Genji's name, Runaway. So I think he reminds me of Genji. He's a head butler too. So it's like, oh, okay. But she doesn't word it like she's like, yeah, that's one of the like head like demon servants. Yeah, he's like number 26 of that and all that. I don't even know if that's even accurate. They're like Gap is like the 7th demon of this or whatever. And I'm just like, this is all just made up bullshit from a 9-year-old. I don't know if any of this is. Although knowing how ingrained with like religious and occult stuff Maria got, it's probably it might be accurate, but
Hell,
it's
I believe it.
you know, I mean, but
Listen, it's very funny to compare the OCs of the first OCs of them, because Maria has Sakutaro, the cutest little thing, and then I mean, you know, Gap is completely real, but Beto
Yeah, of
and
course.
the disparity of the two.
There was like a whole evolution of things. that
Maria's
happened.
still in her warrior cat's face, okay? But give her
True.
time.
It's true. It's true. It's very true. It's very true.
What phase was Beto in when you make
Gender, sexuality questioning, you know?
I mean, that whole side gap, you know, like she was cooking something.
Hell yeah, she was!
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Shannon's stuff. Okay, Shannon was like, I think she's just bored. I was just doing her stuff as best as she could. She's doing really well at it. Then eventually, like later on, years later, just Yasu returns, presenting herself as Beatrice to Shannon, like unprompted, I think.
Yeah, she
Which
shows up.
they have a whole conversation of like, you can live here forever, Shannon, and Shannon's just like, nah, I'm good. And she's like, what the fuck? Why won't you stay here? We have everything. And she's like, well, you don't have everything.
thing.
You're missing one thing, and it's the exact reason why you brought me here. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then she just leaves. And she's like, what the fuck is she talking about? And I was like, it's love. Duh. Without love, cannot be seen. Duh. Oh my god. Everybody knows that.
Everybody
Like,
knows that.
6.5 episodes.
but no, Yasu's clearly just lonely and is just like sitting there with Gap, just making OCs or whatever, coming up with their lore. But they don't understand. They don't understand things because they have not lived in the human world. So Shannon's just like, no, I'm good. I don't need anything. So I think I'd like to leave now. So they leave.
I'd win.
They go back and they have a series of things happening with them. Most of which is all because of Battler. Battler. Then we get into when I was actually locking in this week, because most of the other stuff I was just like, this is all metaphorical bullshit. Where are my answers? I'm supposed to get answers right now. Where the fuck are my... Oh, you're telling me Shannon? It's Shannon? It's all Shannon? I already knew that like 2 weeks ago. What the fuck are you doing here? So,
You know, like 2 months ago.
then, okay.
There's always Shannon, I told you.
And then when we get to the Battler stuff, I'm like locked in. Because now we have like a tragic romance story going on. Shannon is just like having like a couple words with young Battler, and Battler's just like rizzing her up, I guess. What, like, he's just like he's literally like, you should decide to leave. I'll take you away. I'll pick you up on a white horse. I'm like, 12-year-old Battler Riz, what is going on here?
How is he so good?
But it like works 100% on Shannon. Okay, Shannon's just like, oh my god. She's like, he's the rich kid who talks to me all the time about mystery novels. We like exchange mystery novels and discuss it with each other and all that. He's rizzing up me? Oh my god. He's making up. So before we get into the promise, okay, let's get into, they're talking about mystery novels together, which we already knew Yasu had, an interest in mystery novels. Now Shannon has also become interested, supposedly, because not only was she interested, but Battler is also interested, and her and Battler and all the cousins there, they talk with each other every year when they come for the annual visit. It's a very fun time for them. Shannon gets to hang out with them too because she's around the same age, so they all talk together, they gossip together. It's a fun little time, and Battler and Shannon will just have discussions about the mystery novels, and eventually gets to a whole speech about how, most of them focus on the who done it and the how done it, but they don't really talk as much about the why done it's in these
the heart.
The heart. Why? What is the motive behind it? Why would somebody do it? You can't disregard the heart. We all know this. Never forget the heart, as our boy Will always tells us. And this conversation is very deep in inspirational to Shannon, who's just thinking to herself, like, you know, I should look for novels that are focusing more on the motive stuff, like, you know, Battler's interested in. She's like thinking to, like, gifts that she can give to Battler or whatever. And that's when he starts raising her up casually, and then he's just like, and he's just like, you know, we should just get out of here. Should we, you know, when you're done with all this stuff, when you decide to leave all this stuff, we could just leave together. I'll be back like next year. You know, I promise I'll be back next year. I promise. I'll come back next year. Give me your decision then. And if you decide to leave, we'll go off together. And she's like, you promise? He's like, I promise. Cut to like several years later, the whole family's murdered because he did not, in fact, come back the next year. Because the next year, or during that year, I guess, or maybe it was the time frame when Battler had disowned himself from the Ushiromiya family. He separated himself from the Ushiromiya family after Rudolph so quickly married Kyrie after the death of Asumu. And the marriage happened so fast because Kyrie was, in fact, pregnant with Anjay, but she was pregnant before Asumu died. So Battler was like connected to the dots to that, like, that's not good. You're cheating on Asumu. Asumu wasn't even dead yet.
You were cheating on my dead mom.
He's like, give me one thing. He's like, give me one thing if you just dated Kyrie after Sumo died. She's already been pregnant with Anjay. So, you know, but he's like, you know, I don't blame Anjay. The baby's not at fault. You are, because you're a piece of shit. And then he leaves, hangs out with his family on his mother's side of the family for a while, for years. And that's where he has left himself away from it. And Kyrie remarks at one point that basically their fight had calmed down a while later, but they were just too stubborn to actually like fully make up at the time. You know, boys being boys, I guess, was her mindset on it. It was just like, they're just too stubborn to like.
Literally, it's because he's like, because he did like become a brother to Anjay.
Yep.
And he would literally like meet Anjay and Kyrie out on like other places, just not with Rudolph.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, the year when Battler first did not show up, Krauss is just talking to Rudolph like, so, you fucked up, didn't you? It's one thing to disown a child. It's another thing for the child to disown you. How did you fuck it up that badly?
That was so funny, dude.
Oh, you married...
like, look, I'm bad at business, but damn.
Damn.
He's just like, oh, you married another woman so quickly. Well, that's be one thing. You cheated on her with another woman. She's pregnant. She was already pregnant before Suo died. Oh, that's a rough one. And Nazi's just sitting next to him like, Rudolph, how could you be so fucking stupid? And Krauss is like, all right. He probably knows how fucking stupid he is. That's really fucking stupid, Rudolph. Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that?
Rudolph's just quietly sitting there like, I'm a risk god. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't saying that, but like that was probably exactly why it happened. He was just, I don't know. I don't know. All the women are just around me. I can't. All the women are just around me. I can't help it. But anyways, my son doesn't want to be a part of this shit anymore. So, you know, it might be a while. So they're just like, all right, well, I guess that happened. So Shannon is finding out like, oh, he's not here this year. But he promised. He promised he would be. And I think she knew before the meeting, she had heard from like some other servants or whatever that Battler had distanced himself from the family, but she was like, no, but he's still gonna he could still come here this year. And I think she even has like a dream sequence with like or a garden tea party sequence with Yasu and Gap as well, where they're just like, yeah, surely he'll be there. He said he was gonna be there, so he would, you know, he's gonna be there next year. Yeah, he's gonna be there. And then he is in fact not there. And the whole family is too focused on getting used to Kyrie and Anjay to like really bring up Battler's presence. I mean, I think they're talking about it a little bit, but for the most part, Shannon's just like, they kind of stopped bringing up Battler pretty quickly at these events. And so like, but she's like, no, he'll be back next year. This must be just a little trial. This is a trial that God has given me. It's just a trial. It's a test of my faith in Battler. He will obviously be here. I'm just thinking to myself the whole time, like, Shannon, you are making this so much harder on yourself to be waiting a whole year just to find out he's not showing up that year. What are you doing, Shannon? This is not good. Like, the chapters make it feel like she's just nonstop thinking about Battler for like 6 years fucking straight, waiting for him to come back or whatever. Well, actually, that's not true. Not for 6 years straight. Eventually, it sounds like she gets over it, but that makes it even worse when he does come back, I'd imagine. But, you know. Anyways, what were you saying, Shadow?
So those few lines of dialogue from Battler, all right, that get anyone down bad for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, he just like, I'll pick you up with a big white horse, and she's like, does that make you my Prince Charming? Oh my God! She's like imagining a little Battler on a little horse going to pick up little Shannon.
I'm just saying, all right. Rudolph took the good genes from Kinzo.
This is so you're telling me Rudolph is the reason the murders happened. His Riz influence on Battler. Rudolph's Riz influence.
He got the Riz from Kinzo. Okay, you understand? Okay?
Kinzo's thing wasn't. I don't even know if I would consider like Rudolph is obviously far worse with it than Kinzo. Because Kinzo was like, well, I felt nothing for the wife I had because that was like a political kind of arranged thing. Didn't really give a shit about that. Didn't give a shit about her. And now I'm off to war. Kind of want to die. Oh, now there's an Italian woman here. Well, I guess I want to live. I guess I want to live now. That's a little different. That's a little different than Rudolph just hitting on women constantly and then ending up with, you know...
It gets worse every generation, you understand, okay?
You know, but... So, okay. All right. Shannon making her psyching herself out when it comes to Battler. Meanwhile, you know, you're thinking to yourself, Battler's probably moved on and completely forgotten all about Shannon. And they even reference this when like Shannon is talking with like Jessica and some other servant girl. They're just like, Jessica and the other servant girl just like, you know, some girls just really get into their heads about what some guys say sometimes. Guys just say things sometimes where they might not really mean it. But, you know, some girls, they really get obsessed with it. They really think so hard that the girl really, really likes them. But the guy's just hitting on them to hit on them. You know, you got to be careful of that. And Shannon's just like, oh, no, they're calling me out. Oh, no, that's me. Is that me? Oh, no, Battler's going to come back next year, right? Right? No, he's coming back. Yeah, he's coming back, right? Right? He's not coming back. He didn't come back. He didn't come back for another year and then another year. One of the years, Battler brought, one of the, I think QDA brought letters from Battler to, you know, several of the people that he wanted to, you know, at least talk to, to let them know he's doing well. George gets a letter. Jessica gets a letter. I think Anjay got a letter, and George is like, all right, she's not old enough to even be able to read this yet, but okay. And Shannon's just like, is that all?
Is that all the letters?
Is that all of them? And George is just like, oh, you want to throw out the envelope for us? Sure, here you go. And I'm like, George, no, that was the worst thing you could say. I mean, he doesn't realize what she was feeling at the time because she seems like she was heavily hiding all that shit from everybody and just only making herself worse slowly over time, like a ticking fucking time bomb. And now she's being given an empty letter that she gets to throw away because she's just the servant girl that Battler forgot. And I'm like, bro, oh no. I'm like, okay, all right. So Yasu had her Joker moment. She left already. Shannon's getting close to her Joker moment. And as soon as I'm reading those scenes, I'm like, okay, her Joker moment is, it's going to be, she eventually moves on from Battler, starts getting with George, and then Battler shows back up. And not only does he show back up, he completely forgets all about his promise to her. And it's just going to make her snap, and then she's going to start killing people. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So, but...
The massacre wouldn't have happened if it were a year later or a year prior.
Yeah, just you know, because a year later, she'd probably be married to George. A year prior, she might not have been starting to get closer to George yet or something. I don't know, but so...
it's... tell you.
I mean, that kind of... This kind of angle of the story I liked in certain ways. I don't know if I like the implication that the motive for all the murders was just a servant girl decided to start killing people because a 12-year-old.
A motive. Not the only motive.
Okay, sure. This is pretty much painted to us right now, at least, as the main motive for us. Sure, there might be more later, but right now this is painted as like the primary motive. Because we are immediately talking about the why done it in a murder mystery, and then we go into this for like 10 chapters, and I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, Ryukishi's beating us over the head. This is the why done it. This is it right here. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Ryukishi. I couldn't have picked that up. Thank you. So,
put dumbasses in the audience.
So, you know, meanwhile, so Shannon's just like, all right, I don't, you know, I'll be fine. Maybe I just gotta, she's like not having a good time with this. She's like trying to cope sometimes. She's trying to talk with Yasu, or Claire, I guess at this point is what she, or no, she calls herself Beatrice at that point. I think she says to us her temporary name is Claire, but she introduces herself to Shannon as Beatrice, and then Gap is not given a name yet at this time.
Beatrice 4.
So
there's a lot of Beatrices.
There's too many Beatrices. Anyways, what did we have afterward? What was the order of events that happened? It was we basically see Shannon's deterioration with each year that Battler's not there. So it's like 4 years or 5 years, 6 years until the incident, 5 years until the incident, 4 years until the incident, and you know. Every year she's like, you know, maybe he'll be there this year. And then every time he doesn't, she's like all miserable and sad. But she's only like sad about it in private. Nobody else really knows that she's suffering from all this or whatever. And eventually she's just kind of convinced that, you know, perhaps the best thing for me to do is to seek a relationship with somebody else. And it didn't really get into her going with George in this week's thing. But that's probably going to be the next thing that we're shown, I think. Unless there was this week and I missed it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't this week. Yeah, the George stuff. Because George, as far as we know, is still in incel mode right now, being jealous of Battler and Jessica.
He isn't always in incel mode.
How come only wild bad boy Battler gets all the girls? Why can't I get them? I'm a nice guy. Okay, George.
Thanks, George.
So Shannon's like, I'll just lock away my feelings for Battler, and then maybe one day when he returns, you know, we can open that up again. And we're shown like a literal like fancy box for her feelings to be placed away into for it and all that. And then she's like, you know,
in a fancy box
and then one day, you know, I'll talk about mystery novels with him again too. One day. And then Beatrice / Yasu / Gap / all the witches are like, we're going to make somebody else for you in the meantime, because it wasn't George immediately. That we're like, we'll make you a brother. His name is Cannon. And I'm like,
there
okay.
he is.
All right, so that explains Cannon. And then we go into... Then we go into 2 years before the incident, which was the thing that I kept noticing was about, like, okay, this fucking portrait and epitaph wasn't up until 2 years ago. We're being shown that this portrait was at least put up with Kinzo just sitting in front of it the whole time, being like, yes, this is for this, and this is in fact Beatrice. Interpret my epitaph however the fuck you want. And then all the adults are just like, what does it mean? Why would Father do something like this? Is it really to find the gold that he has hidden? Is the hidden gold even real? Things like that. Rosa is like trying to at home being like, what does this even mean? Well, kids are good at riddles, right? Maria, what do you think of this? And I'm like, oh no. I was thinking to myself at first, is this what really gets her into the occult? Because her mama wants her to solve this ritual thing? Is this what makes her snap to like become obsessed with Beatrice? It was just like the ritual shit. But she was just like, oh, this is the ritual to bring back Beatrice. I love this. It's a ritual sacrifice thing, Mama. It's a ritual sacrifice. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? We do get into, now that we're being presented with those, we do get into some answers in regards to the epitaph.
Maybe not the answers we wanted, but the answers we got.
It is unsolvable. Okay. And I don't mean this like, you know, it's kind of hard. No, this shit is unsolvable. You cannot tell me the average, any kind of reader was meant to be able to solve this. This is bullshit. So, all right. I knew it was going to be convolutedly stupid. I didn't realize the levels of convolutedly stupid we were going. Here's how I understand it. You had to, one, deduce that Kinzo was from Taiwan based solely on the fact that Krause mentioned having certain types of nuts that are from Taiwan, and you were supposed to assume that Kinzo was also from Taiwan because of that.
He's not. I don't think he's from Taiwan, but he grew up in Taiwan.
Okay, that's what I mean when I say he's from it.
Oh, yeah.
But the whole thing was earlier, like even in episode 1, they're trying to mention about Odawara being his hometown or whatever. But we know that's not his hometown. And the explanation here is that, well, actually, he was from Taiwan. Genji had to say this. And Genji, by the way, Genji is the only reason why we progress with that, is because he just blatantly says he is actually from Taiwan to Shannon. And I'm just like, okay, so Genji had to just...
Cannon's there.
So
allegedly,
Shannon and Ken are the same person. We all know this by now. So you're not doing a witch's trick on me with this bullshit. So like Genji had to basically spoon feed us the way to solve it at like episode 7 to actually be able to solve this fucking thing. Now that's already one layer of it, is you had to deduce, supposedly, if you did not get this hint from Genji, you were supposed to deduce that there was a Taiwan connection to Kinzo just based on the fact that Krause had those nuts, which was only presented to us as like a cutesy little romance thing between him and Natsuki. So I'm already bullshit about that. Then you're like, okay, Taiwan. A river in Taiwan. There's 129 rivers in Taiwan. And they did break it down to like, what was it, like 6 major rivers? And eventually they're like, oh, well, this one is specifically like a wordplay thing related to, I think one of the characters means sweet fish. And then it's talked about find the village, seek the key, find the villages, the two things that speak to each other. And something about the wordplay is just like, well, if you look at this, it looks like this one's village and this one isn't. But if you change it to Taiwan, it looks like village or something like that. Something to that effect.
You missed the part where they actually weren't using rivers at all. They were using a train.
That was the other thing too.
That actually
that was the other thing.
Name of the river or whatever.
Yes, yeah. They were supposed to start with like the hint about the river to eventually figure out the what was it, Kirigan or something like that. Something started with a K, and they were supposed to be like, oh, but it's not actually the river that we give a shit about. It's something else that flows. How about the train system, which also, you know, can look like a series of rivers, I guess. I don't fucking know. And then this one has the same name, but you're supposed to use like what the Taiwan name of the train station is supposed to be, and it's like Quilin or something like that. Quilon?
No. You forgot the part where you don't use the actual name. You use the old name.
Yeah, you use the old name. You use the old name.
Japan or Taiwan was in control.
So you were supposed to not only be able to do the first step of deducing that Kinzo was from Taiwan as like the hint to be looking towards like a Taiwan map, you had to understand Taiwan rivers and the different languages of how they work with their names. You had to do that and then throw that out the window and assume that it's not a river, it's actually a train station. Then you have to assume, oh, actually you have to use an older version of the name of the train station to figure out that it is a series of letters, which you're supposed to, that's not the answer by itself, you're supposed to do something with that later on. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Nobody was meant to solve this. Nobody. And Kinzo is insane because that is literally his logic. He's like, only the reincarnation of Beatrice could solve this. And the only reason Shannon solved it is because Genji's just like, well, he's from Taiwan, actually. You didn't know that? He's from Taiwan. I just wanted to let you know, Taiwan. You should look towards Taiwan. And then she, like, I think, happens to, like, throw a book on the ground and it lands open, or like has the book naturally open to the page it naturally opens to, and it opens to a map of Taiwan. And then she's just like, well, maybe it's the trains actually based on this. And then like they eventually figure out the Quilon thing. And I'm like, this is insane. Even if you did know the hint about Taiwan, there's like layers to how you supposedly figured this out. That's just kind of bullshit. Listen, Ryukishi was cooking with many things with Umineko. The solution with the epitaph was not one of them, okay? But now, that's one thing, all right? that's one thing, is figuring out that somehow you're supposed to use the Quilin as the series of letters you're supposed to use, or Quilon. I forget what it was. It was Q-I-L...
Q-I-L-I-A-N.
Yes, Quillian or something. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but you're supposed to use that as the key, I think. And you're then supposed to use that information, realize that, okay, well, Kenzo tells us to never go near the fucking chapel, even though he has it cleaned all the time, to be like, okay, well, perhaps the weird fucking sign that is on top of the thing is what you're supposed to use with that. The one that says, this door will only open at a probability of quadrillion to 1. You will only be blessed at a probability of quadrillion to 1. And you're just like, all right, well, I guess quadrillion's got some of the letters in it. It starts with Q. Let's put the key on that, I guess. And that's where you're supposed to continue with this.
Well, there was some deduction about how they got to quadrillion based on like number wordplay or something.
Which was insanity. That was insanity. I didn't even bother trying to interpret that one. I was already so upset at the Taiwan shit, and then they were trying to do mathematical number wordplay. I'm like, bro, Ryukishi. Like, I read, okay, the Monogatari author, okay, made a manga series called Cypher Academy, where the puzzles are such bullshit to try to figure out that the main character has to have a pair of cheat glasses that just highlight hints to solving it for her, because of how crazy the author of Monogatari can get with some of his puzzles. And Ryukishi has somehow made something even more insane than that. And I'm like, what is happening? So, okay. You're supposed to go to this sign. You're supposed to go to this sign, get a ladder, go up to it, and figure out that actually, weird, I only noticed only Genji ever cleaned the sign. None of the servants ever did. Was this a detail that was explained to us before? I don't remember. But apparently, Genji was the only one who ever cleaned the sign. Maybe there's a reason for it.
That for actually? I'm curious.
That's one of those things where I assume it's probably highlighted at least at some point in the visual novel, but I don't think it was in the manga. The detail that Genji was the only one who cleans the sign for the chapel.
Possibly.
Oh, we're not even sure. We're fucked.
Because that was
so a lot of the other parts of this are clarified more in the VN, like the parts of Taiwan and stuff. Namely, those are more because if you remember, the nut that she talks about is actually a reference to Krausa Natsuhi's date from episode 5.
Yep, that's the only reference I remember about that. But like, I'm supposed to deduce from that Kinzo's from Taiwan? That's insanity. That's insanity. Okay. Anyways, so
the only thing I can surmise is that, like, it tends to be specified that the servants clean the interior of the chapel.
Sure. And
they're always seen on the interior of the chapel, but that's, like, a stretch. That's the best I got for remembering whether or not it was Genji was the only one that touched the outside of the chapel.
Yeah, because I would, like, assume, like, okay, well, we're not seeing a lot of, like, you know, the process of how fully, like, each person cleans the chapel because we don't have to. That's not important to the plot. But
it turns out it
was.
But apparently it fucking was. So apparently you're supposed to pick up on that so that you realize, oh, you have to go up to the sign and manipulate one of the words, quadrillion, that are on the sign, because you can manipulate the letters. She's like, oh, you can pull out some of the letters. So you're supposed to kill the 6 that the key chooses. So we're going to kill the letters that we got from the Taiwan Japanese train station name.
This like, okay, this is
makes
too bad.
Okay. So now, once we get to that point, though, I'm okay with the rest of where it's going, because a lot of it is like perfectly fine, perfectly sane and reasonable. Once you understand, like, okay, you know that there's a sign with manipulatable letters. Now you can understand more how you're supposed to, like, follow the instructions on it. All the stuff leading up to that was just pure insanity. That was bullshit. But anyways, then it's like, okay, trying to see if I can find a copy of that. All right, I have a copy of the full epitaph. All right, so they go there, they offer the 6 that the key chooses. Second night, those who remain will tear apart those who are close. In the end, you had like 2 letters which were close, which you separated. And then the letters that you had in the end were like U, R, L, D, and O, which then it says on the third night, those who remain will praise my noble name, which you're supposed to just rearrange those final letters to spell out Lord Yu to represent Lord Ushiromiya. And then you do the whole gouge the head, it's basically like supposed to be like, you've now are locking in the answer. You do the head, the chest, the belly, the knee, the foot, which are each of the letters that remain. You turn it and take it out. You turn it, and then the last one, it sounds like a mechanism is happening. Like some kind of thing has been triggered from this. And then that's where they go to, and none shall be left alive. We're all done with that, I guess. And then Shannon realizes, oh, one of these lion statues has moved. Oh no, both of the lion statues are moved. They've turned to a certain direction. And then she goes into that direction, into like towards the forest. And there's just stairs that goes downstairs. And she's like, oh, what's this? And then this is like an underground like tunnel thing that leads to a door,
Secret
which
tunnel.
is where the gold is, in a very fancy room. And she's getting in there, she's noticing it, she's like, oh my god, I found it. I found all this shit. Genji immediately comes into the room. He's like, ha, you saw it. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so Genji's like, let me give Shannon a hint real quick so that she can solve this, and then I will follow her the entire time until she goes there so I can say, congratulations. Yeah. Because I'm just like, okay, Kinzo's on his way to dying, and Genji's like trying to do
Genji's
something
doing
nice
that,
for
okay.
Kinzo before he passes away. He's like, he just wants to
Don't
see
need to
Beatrice
get
come back to
Kinzo.
life, so
Okay.
I'll have Shannon solve the epitaph, give her the huge hint, she'll figure it out, and then he's immediately like, wow, you did it, congratulations. So put on this dress real quick. And she's like, what? Yes, this fancy Beatrice dress. Please, put it on real quick. We're going to Kinzo's study right now. She's like,
Yeah, it's time
what?
to cosplay.
What is happening? What? So she's taken over in the Beatrice outfit, being treated as the reincarnation of Beatrice now, introduced to Kinzo as the reincarnation of Beatrice. Kinzo just wants to apologize. It's just like, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted to apologize for all the shit I did. I'm sorry about that. And it was just like a whole thing where Genji apologized for like hiding it, and also it told Shannon like, you are the child of Beatrice and Kinzo. We just kept that from both of you. Kinzo supposedly already figured out a while ago that the baby had survived and Genji had hidden it or whatever. And I think supposedly that was one of the reasons why he put up the epitaph, I guess, was what he was saying. I forget what it was. There was like some point in this where like they had mentioned that like Kinzo had figured out that Genji was keeping the child in secret, and he's just saying like, I just want to see Beatrice one more time. I just want to apologize and all that. And it's like a whole layers of like awkward on Shannon's end where she's just like, what is happening? What do you mean he's my father? What is going on?
From taking it through the mental illness lens that I was kind of ranting about, technically, when talking about caring for people who are dying, or caring with people who have Alzheimer's or dementia, you are supposed to give into delusions like that because it provides the person that's suffering from it a sense of comfort. To me, it is still so fucked that they were basically just like playing into Kinzo's weird shit. Like I get it, but like also that's so weird.
Listen, it'd be one thing if it was just if this is weird shit over like his history with Beatrice's and you're introducing another Beatrice to him. It's just like, I just want to apologize. I'd just be like, listen, this man had an incest groomed child with his daughter from his other mistress or whatever. I don't know.
Kumasawa know about it.
That's the thing is Shannon doesn't know that whole part. So like, don't tell her.
Please don't.
Please don't. Don't do that to her.
See, eventually they tell her, and that's when she really has her Joker moment. She's like, you know what? You know what? You had me make that guy happy for one more night? Okay.
You let him touch me?
So
you realize that everyone here is an absolute freak, okay? We gotta hear all of them. There's no way.
It's a very... It makes the scene makes me want to throw up. just thinking about the true context of it is just like, oh my, why did you force her to do this? Because it is all to appease Kenzo.
Yep.
Is the thing. this whole epitaph, all of that, having her dress there, the revival is being able to see her again. In the manga they word it as Kenzo knew that she was still alive, but
he probably suspected as opposed to knew.
I think it's supposed to be more of like he was hopeful that she was still alive, and this would be the miracle that actually brought them together, because Genji and Kurosawa knew that she was still alive this entire time, but they were just basically hiding her.
Yeah.
But because I mean, at this point, it's kind of clear that Kurosawa has also been in. I think they even said it earlier that Kurosawa knew from the beginning. Yeah, when she was teaching her the magic, she was like, "Oh, it's funny that this child that is Bito's daughter is pretending that her items are being stolen by the witch." And
I'm not gonna.
Like, "Oh, it's so cute." It's like, "No, it's not, ma'am."
I'm not gonna lie. I liked my theory about the epitaph better. My theory being that Kraus could not solve the epitaph, and so he moved it into the main hall after Kinzo died to hope that one of the siblings would do it, and then they just wouldn't solve it. So he just started faking murders at first, and then somebody was actually murdering people. That was my theory. So he was like, come on, guys. Come solve the epitaph, guys.
Let me fake a couple murders, and Shannon was like, "Oh, we're killing people now."
Here we go. And Maria's just like, Beatrice has risen. Oh, let's get in on that. Oh. Like that was my theory, where it's just like Kraus was just like, oh, fuck, father's dead, we're gonna lose our money unless I can find his hidden gold. I can't solve this fucking epitaph. I'll just put it in the main hall and see if my siblings will do it. They're just like, this is all bullshit, I'm not dealing with this shit, this shit's impossible. But instead we got Kinzo just wanted to see his child one last time, and Genji was like, all right, I'll let you see your child one last time. We'll even put her in Beatrice's dress, which is fucking weird, but all right. And then we finally...
It's an immaculate condition, by the way. Just saying.
Oh, I mean, nothing less. They obviously, like the chapel, obviously that room and that dress are well maintained at all times for the servants. And then we finally cut back to our boy Will and Leon Lion talking with Burncast, because we haven't seen them in like 2 volumes now at this point. And then we get to like the 3rd volume and they finally show, because the bonus meme comics are both about how they have not been there in a while. So it's just like, I think one of them was like Lion being like, I can open up this can with just my 2 pinch fingers. And Will's just like, I want to see that. How the fuck do you open a can with that? And Lion's just like, well, I obviously just pull off the lid with my 2 fingers. What do you think was going to happen? And Will was just like, yeah, I still think you could do it somehow. I don't know how, but I still think you could do it.
Here it is. And then the second image, and then it's got like Leon holding Diana, because we forgot in the last part. Will is a cat dad.
Yes.
He has a little cat named Diana.
Yes. We didn't mention it, but yes. They had a little cat. They're like, Diana's waiting for me at home. And I was like, oh, you mean a cat? Yeah, of course. It's my cat. How'd you figure that out?
So our paisanos, Kirito and Saber are back.
Kirito and Saber back once again to open up a can of cat food. And where's the other one? Here. Oh, fuck. There's the other one. I was like, how'd you think I was gonna open it? Obviously, I just take the lid off. I mean, it's just got a little thing. You pull it. How'd you think I was gonna do it? And Will was just like, you can still do it, probably. And I think the second one was, the second or third one was also a joke about Lion's pinching skills. I think it was like Jessica just being like, I've been trying to behave so that they don't pinch me as much, or something like that.
And there was one about Will's hair strand.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Where he I was confused with that at first, because at first Will is just like, Diane, leave that alone. I'm like, is he just half waking up and thinking that that's his cat or something? What's going on? And
I don't fully get it.
Because like in my head it was like Will was sleeping, and then Lion went to fuck with the hair, And then, like, Will woke up and was like, Diane, leave that alone. I don't know what was going on, but Lion was just like, this doesn't look dyed. This looks like natural red streak in your hair. What's that about? Is that supposed to be representative of something, or is it just edgy OC design? What is this?
I think it's just cool. I think it's just supposed to be cool.
I'm sorry, is this supposed to be cool? Is this supposed to be cool?
Yes. Will is cool battler.
Oh, that's cool battler. Ah, I see. I thought it was competent battler at least, but you know.
That too.
Maybe not competent hair
I
design.
guess his white horse is Diana.
He gets one strand of red hair to represent battler. I understand. One strand.
No, to see the red strands of hair hold them back. Okay, that's why battler's incompetent.
It's true. It's true. So. It cuts back to them talking about this stuff, and then it goes to Maria doing her OC stuff with Shannon, Yasu, Gap, all of them. She names Gap. They come up with Ronave. What's my name? You'll name Ronave. It's pretty close to Runaway. Yeah, this is close to Genji's name.
Wait, did I time travel back? I feel like we just went over this.
Well, we talked about earlier, but this is the series of events that like happened afterwards, where like Maria's just talking with them about lore and all that kind of stuff. They're basically crafting witch lore and then doing all the OC designs for all their little trinkets and objects. This is the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. This is Sakataro. This is Gap.
There's an innate part of me that, as a writer and a visual novel creator, I want to take insult in the way that you sound, but I can't because you're just
It's right. Maria. It's a 9-year-old saying this. Yes. I don't know what you want from me.
You know what? I have a story. I sound like an old person.
What's your story? Back in my day.
The reason that I take insult to this
again
is because I'm sorry that I have life experiences. Okay, Shadow. Some of us are special and cool like that. I've been at my job for 3 years as of the end of September. And I'm in college, which means that I am at least 21. I am of drinking age, right? Spoiler alert, I'm 22.
Okay.
So I was talking with my coworkers, and there was there were at least like 6 of us in the room, right? And I was like, based on everybody that is in this room right now, who do you think is the oldest with me in there? Like, oldest in age. Every single time somebody answered somebody that wasn't me. Nobody knew that of the people there. I have one coworker. I have 2 coworkers that I know are older than me, and they were not in the room at the time. So I was like, of everybody in this room, who do you think is the oldest student worker? Nobody ever answered me. And
here's an important factor with that, though. Here's an important factor, though. How tall were you at the time?
Okay, I'm 5'3".
Okay, well.
The thing.
You were 5'5". Wait, hold on.
No. I'm like 5'3".
Andy's shrinking.
5'4". The point that I was making is that I've been working there for 3 years as a student. So I would hope that they would know, like, hey, based on how long I've been working there and the fact that I am in college, that I am on the older end of all of our student workers. Because most of our student workers get hired when they're sophomores or freshmen. I still can't decide if I should take that as, like, a compliment to my appearance or as an insult to how I behave. Because what that tells me is that I behave way too young to be a 22-year-old. So here being like, oh, like, you know, like making OCs, I'm like, you know what? People that are older than 9 can make OCs, guys.
You can, but I
don't think that's what he was saying at all.
It's not me insulting. I'm just like, I just think it's funny that it's Shannon consulting a 9-year-old about OCs for witches.
It's Beto.
Oh, sorry, it's Beto, not Shannon.
I keep getting confused. I actually genuinely keep getting confused when you say Shannon, but you're referring to Beto, technically.
They're all Shannon! What do you want from me? You and your witch's tricks trying to make me lose my mind about which character we're currently talking about.
I'm doing it on purpose. Andy is doing it on accident.
What am I doing on accident? I'm confused.
Listen.
Shannon, and I'm like, Shannon wasn't the one in that picture. That was Beto. I remember.
Listen, It
You
was.
were literally Maria, where you see one person, you're like, oh, that's
True. True. You're like my Call of
that,
Cthulhu.
that was Vita sitting across from Maria.
You're like my Call of
but, you know.
Cthulhu group. It must be Beatrice. It must be the witch. It can't be anybody else.
Hold on, before I continue on, fuck you, Andy. I do have life experiences. Unfortunately, mine are just a little too much like Shannon.
Damn.
They're just
Damn,
a little too Canadian.
You have a several year unrequited love with a rich boy who offered to take you away on a white horse. Does that happen to you?
Not quite.
Oh, okay, so that's good though. That means you're not going to snap and murder everybody in book club one year. Okay, we're
well,
good.
maybe
We're good
not
on
for
that.
that reason.
We're good on that.
There might be
Okay,
other
all right.
reasons.
All right, sure.
Okay, imagine that, but the person was always there, the entire time.
So.
Oh my gosh, Shadow, tell us about your secret love life that you never talk about.
Oh no, this
Okay.
is a friend. This is friendship.
All right, let's not get into all this shit right here when we're talking about Beatrice. Okay, we're talking about Shannon /
It's
Beatrice
topical.
/ Yasu / listen. It's Maria being consulted about this stuff. I thought was a cute little scene. I liked it as like a little thing to be like, this is actually how the idea for a lot of these characters were like came about. But each of them like have their own different personalities and stuff, which, we don't know, whether or not it's just Shannon pretending to be all these things, is a very good actress of like all these kind of different personalities or whatever. Or we don't know if like this is like something else going on with that, but seems to be enough that to Maria that this person can like change certain things about how they're talking, and like, it will fully convince someone like Maria that this is a different person. But there could be some other elements to where they're also pretending to be these characters otherwise as well. Like, I don't know, some kind of disguise thing later on, maybe. But
there was briefly a very literal demonstration of that when like Yasu and Gap were kind of like exchanging how Beatrice the Golden Witch would act by like Yasu adopting those mannerisms.
Yeah.
That's all.
There was like also the fact that we still have the dress, Beatrice's dress. We made a whole show about Shannon wearing the dress. So now we have a whole like disguise that could literally be used at parts.
We got the Beatrice drip.
We got the Beatrice drip going on. I think I like
the Beatrice drip. We've got Gouda's drag costume for Gap that he keeps in the closet.
True.
I'm not giving up on that. I still think that's so funny. And if anybody here is watching is an artist, can you actually please draw Gouda in Gap's outfit and send it to me? I would really appreciate it.
I'm sure it probably exists already.
I need it.
You don't need it. You want it, first of all. Okay.
No. I need it. This is a need.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
This is a need.
This is not a need. It's a want, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
This is definitely a need.
So I misspoke a little bit. All that stuff with Marie and all that happens before the whole solving of the epitaph stuff. They establish the epitaph being set up. Then we go into the Maria stuff, and then we go into the solution to the epitaph, which is all bullshit. And then I did like, though, they had like, this was like Rosa had some weird theory about Kyoto and using some wordplay with the capitals to be like, actually you just had to go to the different like areas of Kyoto or some shit like that. There was like a whole like big like graph that they had written up about it. It was like, actually you go this day, the hometown represents this area and this. And I'm like, it's like a 10-day trip. That was how she assumed it, but that was not close. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then they go into like the quadrillion stuff, and I'm like, this is dumb. This is dumb. That epitaph shit was dumb. I'm so mad. That shit was not meant to be solvable. Like, that's bullshit. I want to know, Ari, how did the Umineko community feel about the epitaph solution? How do they feel about it?
Ari?
Ari's not
there. Did you
there.
break?
Ari's dead.
Ari's muted right now.
Ari's
All
dead.
right,
Goddamn.
All right, so Ari's not there. But this is just all bullshit, okay? I just got to say. Like, I thought it was going to be a nice little clever thing in the end for all of us, where it was just like, we were just supposed to pick up on this detail, detail, supposed to notice that, and we'd be able to solve. This shit was not meant to. Even the fact that we didn't know Japanese, I don't think that alone. You had to know, like, the map of Taiwan and, like, old railroad track names and shit. I'm just like, no. And that's before you even had to deduce that he's even from Taiwan, from Krauss mentioning the nuts
And
about
that's
his
a
date
very
with
integral part of
Natsuki.
the story.
That's
You tell
shit's.
me as soon as I step away.
That's fine. That's
Yes.
fine. That's fine. The question is, how did the
I-
Umineko community feel about the
heard.
epitaph solution? Okay, how did they feel?
I don't know. I never really saw much of the JP fandom because, like, by the time I got into Umineko in middle school, what year did episode?
Yeah, what year were you in
8
middle school?
come out?
I need to know how did middle school Ari feel about the epitaph solution? Was she also like, this is bullshit? Or she was like, oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Okay, so episode 8 released 2010. I got into Umineko about 2011 and then mostly 2012.
Okay.
Middle school me did not give a fuck about Will, about Leon. I was looking at Claire. That was my girl. I was like, I
Wait,
love
what?
this design.
Wait,
Claire,
wait. Did you
Jess's
post
design.
the sprite of Claire in the like? What does Claire's sprite look like?
Yes, let me show that.
I'll put it on stream.
Because I have several of them saved from middle school because I was
Oh,
like, I
boy.
have to draw her every single day, and I did. I think I
Aw.
liked her
First known time in
design.
history, someone being down bad.
Shut up.
Basically.
I think I liked her design because it really it kind of looks like a to me at least when in middle school it looked like a kind of Southern Belle design. 'Cause
Yeah.
you've got like the bonnet, you got the very light
Sorry.
pastel colors. What?
It makes me think of Cafe Rouge every single time somebody
Shut
says
the
that.
fuck up. I am a Southern woman. I can like Southern things.
Can like other Southern women, am I right?
But
It's allowed.
I think
Legally allowed.
something about it just I really liked the design because it's very you just really don't see this kind of color scheme in a lot of designs, you know? And compared to a lot of the other Umineko designs, it's pretty
Feathering.
different colored. Shut up. But yeah, her design is very very light colors, greenish, light pastel yellows. So yeah.
So yeah. Oh my god. Wow.
I didn't
That's
like this
Claire.
week's reading.
I'm gonna be honest. I the only parts I really enjoyed was the Shannon Battler romance drama stuff. I fucking hated the epitaph solution. I thought the Kinzo scene was really fucking. I felt gross
Weird.
throughout that whole thing. And then I mean I thought the little Maria scene was like cute. But and then again the earlier Yasu stuff. All the metaphorical bullshit with that, I'm just like, all right, come on. I thought I was going to get answers already. Where's the answers? Where's my answers?
They're all around you. If you have love, you can see them already.
There's no love.
Listen.
Sorry, I've run out.
Listen, again, like I said, when we're not doing all this metaphorical bullshit, I'm locked in. When we're like Shannon Battler, like love story drama shit, where we just get to see Shannon lose her fucking mind over 6 years waiting for Battler to come back, okay, I'm locked in. Because we're not bullshitting that every 5 seconds. She consults her imaginary friends every now and then, sure, whatever, that's not too crazy. We're doing weird bullshit about Beatrice spider threads fucking with other servants. Please stop. I understand it's Yasu pulling pranks on people. Please, I don't I was just like, Ryukishi, please, we're 7 episodes in. You don't have to do this anymore, please. So all right. I'm of the same kind of agreement with Andy, where I don't really know how I felt about this. Honestly, the beginning of this week's reading, it kept being hard for me to want to continue. I kept picking like
See,
this
I
is
had
why.
that problem with all the Shannon Battler stuff. I just thought it was boring and obnoxious.
No, that shit was great for me. That shit was great. You got to see her
Shannon's
mental
so uninteresting
decline.
as a
He
character.
finally gets
You're a
his
hater.
romance he's wanted.
I'm okay with being a hater. You know what, dude? I'm fucking fine with being a hater. You know why? Because I'm sick. I'm so sick of the fucking innocent, lost, damsel in distress. Move on, girl. You were like, what?
And she
13,
does. She
12?
does. You're gonna love her. You're gonna love her.
Shit, I had to put up
You're gonna love her. Next week, you're gonna love Shannon when she starts murdering everybody. You're gonna love her. What do you mean? She's gonna be
presented as Shannon because, like you just said, it's all the weird metaphysical bullshit.
Listen. You're gonna love her. Okay.
Next week's reading is gonna be great.
And you know what? No, I'm not gonna love her. Because she's not going to be killing for fun reasons. She's going to be killing for boring, annoying reasons.
Well, wait till we see how it's presented to us. Like we said, it might be presented fantastically. So, hey, don't make fun of me. I'm trying to say that you might actually have a fun time next week. Don't make fun of me, boy.
Only if it's as I'm watching Beatrice do, not Shannon.
You're a hater.
I think Beatrice is hotter than Shannon.
I mean, that's just a fact.
I mean, yeah. Nobody was arguing that, but
I'm also a big fan of Italy too, actually.
True. Truly. And that was another detail, right? Eventually, Claire updates her OC design. Okay, updates her VTuber model. All right, we go through we go through different VTuber models for Yasu.
It's model 2.0.
You know, their debut was Yasu. All right, then they went to Claire, and you know, they got the Shannon model sometimes. Actually, Shannon might be their real face or whatever. The PNG tuber, perhaps, yeah. And then eventually. Gap is her stream mate. Yeah.
This is all just them playing dolls.
Yep.
So,
yeah, with Maria. Yeah.
With Maria. So when Maria gets bored of this one being Beatrice, she's like, okay, now I want it to be this one. This is the doll that's Beatrice now. And they're like, all right, sure, like whatever.
No, Virgilia has she's your teacher, so she's got all the powers, so she can do anything.
And you can't have Gap call her Leah. It's weird. It has to be Virgilia in Red Truth.
No, they're Yuri, okay? They could call each other Leah.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, so, and then we updated eventually to, Beatrice model, which we've designed based on how Battler described his ideal woman to be. So and it was just like, it just was Beatrice. So, but Battler didn't even see the Beatrice epitaph yet. He just described Beatrice without seeing it. So, okay. All right.
And we got like the Beatrice model again, different, but she's wearing a different dress. You can't forget that one.
There's like 4 different iterations of the Beatrice model, yeah. So
we'll see. And what I'm thinking is, what if actually like the real character, like the Shannon, the real one, looks like none of the ones that we've been presented. It doesn't have black hair like Shannon does.
Yes.
It's not Claire. It's not Beto. Like it's some other 5th, 6th fucking VTuber avatar version that we haven't even seen yet.
That was the thing I was going to suggest. I was going to suggest, 1, Shannon probably doesn't actually look like Shannon. 2, and especially the biggest case, Shannon's name in the story probably isn't actually like presented as Shannon or the Sayo name. It's probably something different because Yasu just being like, I don't like being called Yasu because it's like a nickname. So they probably have an actual like different name. I don't know if it's going to be Sayo or if it's just something else completely different, but it might be related to Canon's full name. It might be related to like Canon's name too, I'd imagine, because we were shown Canon's full name. What was it, last episode or something like that?
Episode 6.
Yeah, Canon's real name. What was it? It was like Yo something.
Yoshia.
Yeah, Yoshia. It might be related to a mixture of like that and Sayo. I don't know. Probably something like that. That's my theory.
Sayo has a full name.
What's Sayo's last name? Or first name, I guess.
Find it out.
Okay, so the answer is it hasn't been presented to us yet? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's been presented.
Okay. They did not say, my name is Sayo something something, right? Don't fuck with me here. Goddamn witches. I mean, these witches here. They're like, well, you might have, there might have been a reference to her name, not necessarily saying that her full name was that, but this is solvable. The epitaph is solvable out here, ass, being like this. Okay. Like I said, okay, we're given hints about what the name is or directly told what part of the name is, but like I said, it's probably just a mixture of like Canon and Shannon's like real names or some shit like that. That's my theory. But because again, we're being introduced to Canon as like another figure there to like help Shannon get over Battler by just having somebody else to care about. I hope it's not meant to be like a physical relationship with her fictional brother.
No.
Because I just remember, those scenes in one of the episodes where Shannon's rubbing her tits in his face.
I'm saying this is red. No.
And I'm just thinking like this is some Tatsuki Fujimoto shit right there. If that's where we're going.
Hey,
Like,
Truth.
look,
No,
Beatrice takes very well after a swallow there.
Kenzo. Listen, at the very least, it'd be better because it's imaginary and not a real brother. But I don't know. Anyways, but we know from context that eventually Shannon's going to have a relationship more so with George, which will probably be explored more in the next set of volumes, and then eventually Battler is going to come back, and that's probably going to be the Joker moment for Shannon. Battler's not only going to show up, but not going to remember the promise. Because I think back towards the first episode where he meets Shannon and Jessica, and all, talk with all them again. But Shannon they kind of get along well with again, but he doesn't immediately like remember the promise. But canon was a completely new thing that he hadn't met before, so I'm still trying to figure like what that was supposed to be representative of, like how he's shown to be physically meeting canon for the first time there. Things like that nature.
Shannon's allowed to be mad at Battler, considering how bad his memory would have been fucked up by the way that the eating disorder affected his brain.
That's true. This is true. This is true. She should know these things. She's the servant. She should be knowing what he's eating.
I like how it took me that long to get into the statement before Ari told me to stop.
You should know.
No, that's where I was going. Like well before then. I shouldn't have had to start saying eating disorder before you were like, Andy, shut the fuck up.
Oh God! All right,
so I'm gonna tell you.
So there was a lot of metaphorical witch stuff, a lot of Shannon backstory stuff, and a lot of epitaph solution bullshit. I say solution again in air quotes. That shit was not meant to be solvable. But in one way, I am mad. Because it was presented to us the whole time as if it was something that was critical that you could solve. On the other hand, I'm not as mad because, Kinzo made it so convoluted that only the reincarnation of Beatrice could solve it. But even then, Genji was just like, he's kind of too crazy. This shit's too hard for anybody. I know the answer because they have me probably take care of that hidden bunker shit. So I'll just give her a little hint. If she figures it out, great. If not, maybe I'll drop her another hint. Which probably what was going on in his head. Because he's just thinking to himself, like, yeah, we got to get her to solve it. We got to get her in the dress. We got to get her in the room before he dies. I mean, my hope would be Kinzo's death was actually Shannon finding out all that fucked up backstory lore about Kinzo and then killing him herself. That's my hope.
Beating him to death with hammers.
I'm hoping for that.
Genji watching and just being like, you know what? Yeah, that tracks.
he just
she's the new successor, so
yeah. And then they just all listen to Shannon out of pure shame of what they did to Shannon for putting her through that. So they just follow through the murders with her because of it. That's my theory that I want to happen because, man, I was rooting for Crazy Kinzo before until I found out that fucked up shit was confirmed. Man.
It was pretty cool, but then that happened.
I think Kinzo is crazy anyway.
Man. Anyways. So, I'm so excited to see Incel George finally land himself a girl out of desperation next week. Because she's going to be so desperate to get over Battler that she's just going to start dating George, probably. And then Battler's
in my local area.
And then Battler's going to show back up and it's going to be over. Oh, boy. What other, are there any other thoughts, theories, concerns that we want to be presenting here? What do we got?
Okay, I remember you mentioned this, and you bring attention to the book club. The theory that it was all tomato sauce the whole time.
Oh, yeah, because this was, for context, people listening, for my Call of Cthulhu thing, the first week that I did it, they were trying to ask for specifics about what they were having for lunch, and I was like, I don't fucking know. And so I tried looking up what they officially ate for dinner in the story. And at least in episode 1, I guess. And some of the searches I came up with was somebody's fan theories about it, and the fan theories titled "Non-canon Umineko theories: All deaths are actually faked and done with a creative use of tomato sauce. The 7 stakes are actually creative meatballs. The red truth is only tomato sauce."
And I think Goda could have done it.
Nobody appreciated my explosive diarrhea joke.
I go with that.
Yeah, I don't
my
think.
bad.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to acknowledge the explosive diarrhea. So Shadow had said Erica didn't kill anyone. It was all tomato sauce. Italian Beatrice is a big fan of tomatoes. And then Andy said, "What if the bombs were a metaphor for explosive diarrhea?"
It was the one day that Goda was not cooking very well.
You know, this is why in one of those episodes they were all dead at a table in the chapel. They're having their
they were not cooking. Okay,
Halloween, Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah. So, okay. Where do we stand on episode 7? I liked episode 7 stuff last week. Did not like it as much this week. But maybe I'll like it more next week. This was, like I said too, this was tough for me to want to start. I didn't actually finish my reading stuff until yesterday because it was too fucking annoying for me to sit down and start it at first. I kept getting frustrated, annoyed with how metaphysical we're still being, or metaphorical we're still being about the whole Yasu backstory stuff. I was just like, when do we get into the Shannon shit? And we eventually got there, but I was still just like, this took us a while to get there just to be like, yeah, so Yasu got obsessed with pulling pranks on people with elaborate mystery novel tricks. She was taught, what do we say, ADHD, coping mechanisms, and then started using that to fuck with people instead. So
some advanced accounting tricks, okay? I'll tell you about it.
And then her and Maria came up with OC lore for all their different imaginary friends, personalities, whatever they are. And Maria is just obviously going along with it. I did also, I think I mentioned this too, but I just want to highlight it again because I do still find it really funny that Rosa just immediately gave up on trying to solve the epitaph when all the siblings were trying to solve it at first. And Rosa just immediately gave up. Was like, Maria, can you solve this? And Maria's just immediately locked in. And then she pulls out a ruler, magnifying glass, is like, oh, this is about Beatrice's revival. You don't know about Beatrice? You don't know about the ritual? Oh, this is gonna happen. We're all gonna go to the Golden Land. Just doing the evil laughs. Yep. I don't know. The main thing that I liked this week was the Shannon Battler Joker moments, ticking time bomb shit that was going on. I like that stuff. Young Battler, Riz God, Young Battler.
How is he doing?
Very cute design, I will say. Very cute designs we had for the younger, the cousin characters. Very cute designs.
One thing I noticed, I'm probably tripping. Young Battler is always wearing black, right?
Always wearing black?
Plaid?
Oh, plaid. Yes.
Yeah.
The young one, or only in the scenes that we see. He's only in a couple scenes that we see of him, but yes, he's shown wearing plaid in the couple scenes that Shannon has met with Battler. Yes.
Oh no, I said black specifically.
Oh, black? Well, he's wearing plaid. I don't know if he's
plaid.
Plaid.
Plaid is the pattern that he's wearing
on his pants and shit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But why? What were you gonna bring up about Battler?
Because I remember Battler when at the end of episode what was it, 5 when he was going back and doing all the thing, he was wearing black for some reason. I'm still confused. There has to be a reason for this.
With the black cape or whatever, or
I think he's talking about the flashback when he goes, and then I knew. I don't think you're cooking though. I'm sorry.
I don't know. If you're trying to, I say, because the main thing I remember, him saying, and then I knew. I just remember it showing panels of a young Battler meeting a young other person, and that young other person being Shannon / Beatrice / culprit /
I'll grab it after you stream.
Yeah, you can find it. You can find it.
It probably isn't important then.
Okay. How did we feel? How did the artists in the chat feel about the art for this week?
Everybody except for me. Okay.
I mean, there wasn't really any men mostly in this one, so it was better.
You said men. You said
genuinely-
men. Okay.
Men.
But
No,
I still don't really like this artist art style.
I honestly didn't like anything about this reading.
D.
The epitaph was confusing.
Yep, that's true.
I don't care about the Battler Shannon stuff.
Because you're a hater.
So
You're a hater.
Because I'm a hater.
Without
Like,
love
I feel
cannot
like
be
so much
seen.
of like the OC stuff, it was just like fluff. I honestly didn't like how they drew Shannon's face.
Yeah.
They made her
She's
look
really
so
moe in this.
young. And then that one screenshot that I took of Claire's laughing face, the mouth is like in the totally wrong position. It's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing that I actually felt like I enjoyed was the engagement, like the chat between Rudolph and Natsuki and Kraus. Yeah, I don't sympathize with Shannon as a character. So there's that.
What about
The
Beatnut?
environment, like the
The side.
everybody. Here's the thing. Everybody in this manga is stupid. Okay? And it's not like in a cute, quirky character flaw kind of way. It's in like a genuinely, it is painful to read about your life kind of way.
That's
Okay.
called mental illness. Yeah, I'm not laughing.
I'm laughing. I am laughing though.
You're laughing. People are dying and you're laughing.
Have you
Of course.
considered that there is nobody in this manga that is mentally sane?
Come
It's
on,
just-
there's someone, right?
Goda's
me
mentally
one.
sane. Goda's got nothing. He's just, Goda's sane, right?
Okay, Goda gets a pass for now.
I think Goda. I
What
think
are you gonna do?
you know what. I
It's
think
one
Goda
for one.
and Genji at least get a pass. Kumasawa, I'm still.
Oh, wait.
little on the
We're
fence
forgetting
about.
Yoshida. Yoshida. What about Yoshida?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, not
What
Yoshida.
is a
Hideyoshi.
Yoshida?
Hideyoshi. Why did I say Yoshida?
Oh, you know what? You're so right. Hideyoshi is so valid.
Why did I say Hideyoshi? Who's Hideyoshi? Oh no, not who's Yoshida?
Are you okay?
Was
Are
that?
you okay?
I think I was trying to think of what I thought Kanon's name was. What was Kanon's name?
Yoshia.
Yoshiya. Okay, but Hideyoshi.
Yoshi.
Hideyoshi doesn't do anything wrong. Sakataro,
Hideyoshi is
Sakataro.
well, okay. Listen, I'm still haunted by that back page with the really tough Sakataro's ass. That haunts me. in my
Hold on.
nightmares.
Counter argument. Sakataro's feeding to Maria's delusions. Therefore, he's a problem.
Sakutaro is a problem. Let's consider the idea that if Sakutaro were not just a figment of Maria's imagination, but actually like another friend or a cousin, he is such a massive fucking enabler. He is the exact
Exactly.
opposite of like I hate to put it, but like therapy pet, exact opposite of a therapy pet that you would want for a 9-year-old. With fucking 90-year-old Kinzo, like, okay, it makes sense that in like a caretaking role, you would give in to his delusions. Maybe not to the extent of him like apologizing to his like fucking granddaughter or whatever, like that was weird. But like with Maria, you want to be teaching her out of that. Not in the way that Rosa is doing it, but like you wouldn't want to be getting her a friend that's like, oh yeah, like candy, magic, stuff like that. Like, no, he's an enabler. Just separate them.
You are accepted, okay?
All right, I must now do my weekly when will Ryukishi learn how chess works rant, okay? I must now do this.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm pulling up the receipts here on the stream, okay? Because they're talking a little bit about how this mystery is like a chess game,
Oh,
bro.
no.
Here's all right. Here's the image. Anybody know what's fucked up about this one? Anybody? There's one immediate thing. First of all, the bottom left-hand side of the black side of the board. Okay, you can't see my mouse, but I'm hovering over that on my side. You'll notice, right? It looks like there's a piece next to the rook, almost like it castled over there. That's the queen. The queen can't castle. The king is in dead center, all right, where the queen should be instead. For some reason, the black king is just out in the open while the queen seemingly castled, which would be an insane position to ever get to because this appears to be the rook from the left side. So for the queen to actually get into this position, it requires one, moving the king all the way out of the way, like they did, moving all the other shit out of the way, which is gone, moving the queen out of the way for the rook to move like slightly over, and then the queen in, and then the rook back in. It's a series of dumb fucking moves that would get you killed in this game. All right, that's one. Number two, top left of the board, you could see the white pawns. Now, pawns in chess start in the second row on each side, right? They can only either move forward or attack diagonal. Notice there is a pawn on the second column that is in front of a pawn, right? There's two pawns, one's in front of the other one. This can only happen if the pawn has attacked diagonally nearby, or a series of nearbys, right? Where the fuck did that pawn come from? It couldn't have come from the left side, because there's already a pawn that's moved forward one, which implies it's from that row. It can't have come from the other side, because there's a pawn there. The file that's open is, like, all the way on the right side. This is not how chess works. This doesn't make any fucking sense. This is not how that works.
Argument.
Yes.
He's not the artist of this.
Okay, but listen. I just want to know, who did we consult about chess? Who?
Visual personification of the epitaph.
It's a bunch of
Andy said, fuck your chess. It's cool.
I'm not saying that it's cool.
Sorry, hold on. I had to interpret the chess notation in Taiwan and then learn that it's actually like a railroad tracks. It's not a chessboard. Yeah, sorry. I forgot about that side of this. Of the chess game. I was supposed to...
Taiwan.
Hold on, let me pull my history book of Taiwan to dissect this chess match and learn where the gold is. You know, silly me. Silly me. I just want to know when somebody working on this will learn how chess works. We got one episode left. You know, I mean, I just want to know.
I thought we were going to the chess chain. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I didn't think you were.
Because I'm just like, chess.
I know how to play chess, but like these aren't even like major dissections that only like somebody who plays a lot of chess would know. These are like obvious things to people, like how did the queen castle over it? Queens can't castle, like that's an obvious thing. How did that rook get in front of that, or how that pawn get in front of that one? The pawns can't go there unless they're like next to it and attack diagonal. Like I just want to know, are they was this from Code Geass? Did they take a reference of the board from Code Geass and they use that? Like what is this? And like sometimes in the boards we've seen in the past, sometimes it's not impossible the positions they've gotten into. It's just you would never get into this position because it'd be super fucking dumb for you to ever have landed in that position. Both of you would have to be morons at chess to end up there. Battler's incompetent, but Beatrice, I don't know. You know,
Beatrice is just trolling. Beatrice is trolling.
Well, and supposedly this chessboard that they're looking at would be Burns, wouldn't it? In this grand scheme of things, or whatever chessboard they're referring to in that scene.
Yes,
I think it's the scene that Chap's talking about. It's the one where Yasu and Gap are discussing history novels.
Yeah.
Question, Ari. Has it been staying in red that Yasu's incompetent? Because if so, this makes a lot more sense.
How dare you?
Yasu's gonna be Beatrice and calling Battler incompetent, so you know.
It's projection.
You have to be incompetent before you can get to the competency.
Is that how that works?
Character development. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I don't remember if I've said this before, but I think I'll say it again. There are times with like how certain scenes, especially when it comes to this episode, where it's getting all metaphorical, how the scenes are being presented to us, where I feel like maybe I would have enjoyed it more had I read the visual novel as opposed to the manga. Because the manga, obviously, as a manga adaptation, it has to do a lot more visual representation of things that were not physically shown to you in the original Umineko visual novel. Because there was a lot not physically shown in the original Umineko visual novel.
I assume none of the chess is shown.
And I don't know when the whatever remakes of Umineko were released that did have additional visuals were made in comparison to when the manga came out. So I don't know if they were able to use any of that as references. But
probably years later.
Yeah, I'm sure they consulted with Ryukishi about how certain things, how certain scenes should be presented or whatever visually. But for the most part, I'm just like, just this is even going beyond like the artist style, because the artist style is whatever depending on the episode you're on, but I'm more so talking about like how the certain things are presented, of like what things I'm supposed to be focusing on and ways I'm supposed to be feeling about certain characters or like things. Because like I said, it was annoying for me this week to try to get into this because it just kept focusing on these two girls who are just the sisters of purgatory that are supposed to be representative of other servants or whatever, and how one of them is just like freaking out about how a witch is clearly has to only be the one doing these pranks on her and shit like that, and like the scenes about the chessboards and stuff like that, and the Gap laughing with all that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, we're doing all this fantastical visual stuff to me that I already don't care much about. Like, I know that they're trying to make it visually more appealing, but for me, I'm reading this being like, okay, I just want my answers already. Why does this need like a 9-act like play to vaguely explain something that I sort of have an already idea about? Like,
because you're reading unreliable narrator the story. Of course, the answers are going to be given to you through an unreliable narrator.
I don't think I made this joke on Book Clip before, but I made a joke in one of the VCs at some point. I'm tired of unreliable narrators. It's time for unreliable readers, and that's the Umineko experience. You are the unreliable reader who thinks you are being presented with something, but it's just you're an idiot. It's not that you were being lied to. It's just that you are supposed to be seen as an idiot. You're basically like Battler. You are incompetent for not being able to solve the epitaph. What? You don't know Taiwan railroad names from like 1950s. You don't know like Chinese names for these stations. You don't know Japanese history stuff with islands and World War II and all that. You don't know, like, there's a whole bunch of things. Listen, like, it kind of makes me wonder though if like maybe I have ruined. I don't know if I should say ruined, because I don't think my experience with Umineko is ruined having read the manga. The manga's good in many ways, but I feel like my experience probably would have been far different with Umineko as like a whole, as a story, had I experienced it as the visual novel before the manga. Because with the manga, I'm giving a lot more visual representation of certain scenes that have happened, whereas with the visual novel, it's going to be more imaginative in certain ways.
It's
so
bare minimum, yeah.
So
and,
I don't know.
Towards the end, the manga is going to give a lot more answers than the VN ever did.
I see. Okay.
That's why I'm glad that I'm reading the manga over the VN.
I don't know to what extent, because I have not read that far in the manga, but I've seen screenshots and wow.
I am very interested to eventually see, because I'm pretty sure we will probably eventually have to do like a stream or server watch of it. The nightmare that was the Umineko anime, because I have to know. I have to know what they did. I have to know how they ruined it. I have to know. Can you, I think you explained it before earlier on. Can you explain to us again how they fucked it up specifically?
Well, like you have, so.
Did they fuck up the best even
I
more
watched it
somehow?
in middle school, so I don't remember very much. But
I've seen some screenshots from it, but it looks so bad.
Here's what I was vaguely told. I was vaguely told, one, it looks bad. Two, I was told they did some weird shit where they spoiled things you weren't even supposed to even be remotely presented yet, and things of that nature.
I'm pretty sure Beatrice Castiglione is in the anime. I think she is. I think she is.
The anime is like what? 12 episodes?
I might be misremembering.
How long is the anime?
No, it's like 25 or so, 26.
Okay, all right. That's sizable.
I think she's in the anime.
Bro.
Does she have a page on AniList? That'll decide it if she has a page on AniList.
Bro, if they ever decide to actually remake the Umineko anime today, it would have to be like 8 different studios working on each season, and that's the episodes, and that would be amazing, I think, if they actually did it like that, but I don't know.
Maybe she wasn't. But it was several things where it's like, you know, the first few episodes, it is very like, magical almost of how the murders are committed, but there is still a solution to it, a human solution to it, but it just kind of cut out a lot of the mystery parts of like how you could actually be able to solve it yourself. So the anime was very. Dean just wanted you to believe in Bito, essentially.
Do you remember if the Umineko anime was a complete narrative in that it actually had an ending? Do you remember if this was a thing?
No, because I think it stopped at. I think it just did the first 4 episodes.
Oh,
Okay.
In 25 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, that I feel like it could be done. Maybe not
So,
great,
okay,
but
here's
I feel like it could be
reviews on
done.
AniList.
If it's 24 episodes, 4 episodes, I feel like it could be done.
The first novel takes about 60 to 80 hours to read. The anime compresses that to 26 episodes. How does it do that? It cuts a lot of content. Even the parts that are absolutely vital to the story. Forget the subtle details and nuanced characterization. The anime skips over entire hour-long sequences. It even goes into the story skipping the hour-long character introduction sequence the VN had, which the manga also did. The scene at the beginning where Battler is at the airport and Nijima and explaining like the different family members' names and stuff and how much he hates his and how he's gonna kill his parents. And
it was him. He was
boys.
Beatrice.
But
True.
let's see. Yeah, it just sounds like they just cut out a lot of things and took out the mystery part of it because kind of like what they did for the Higurashi anime, where they made it much more horror focused rather than the meat of it.
Okay.
Because it's a psychological horror, sure, but it's also got it very much mystery.
I can't wait. We have to watch it at some point. Once we're done, we have to watch it. I have to see what they did. I have to see how they ruined it. I have to see what they did to my boy, Battler. What they do to my boy. I gotta see.
The stage play, though, is apparently really good.
Are we able to watch it?
Episode 1 is on archive.org.
Ooh. That is interesting. That's a potential thing. All right. But yes, we got a couple messages.
You guys say this, but there's one problem. We never did the summertime rendering anime. We never watched.
Well, we will eventually do that one. But Umineko was like a much longer experience that we had, so it's like a lot more that we've had to think about and all that kind of stuff. Whereas summertime rendering, it was good, but it was like that one we did not like how that ended. But
that currently ended. And you can find out by watching the previous anime book club streams.
But that anime is complete. That anime does cover the entirety of it. And I heard that the summertime rendering anime was very good. I only watched like one or a couple episodes of it, I think. Oh yeah, I did, because I wrote a couple like episode reviews of it on Jodaku Network. So they were pretty decent what they were trying to do. It was very interesting at the time that was airing, because that was supposed to be one of the early Disney exclusive anime, the Disney Plus anime that they were grabbing. Which was weird that they picked summertime rendering for that, but whatever. Based. Yeah. We got a couple messages in the YouTube chat from Minmod. I think the first-person VOV of Yasu made the VN a lot better experience, but some parts of the manga depicted their life really well, like them learning magical tricks. I did like what they were doing visually with that. Yeah, I like that. The visual novel is the definitive experience, even though it gives some less answers. It's much better told. The anime just rushes through a lot like Cliff Notes and has poor designs and presentation. The stage play is that answers a lot. Yeah, the stage play is incredible and probably the best adaptation Umineko could ever get. Even the first episode is really entertaining. Well, I'm interested to check it out eventually. So, who's doing the new Higurashi animes? Who is doing those? Is that what studio is doing that?
Let me check. Because that was Go and Sotsu.
Yeah. Because I think I only saw the first season of the old Higurashi.
Yeah, so you can't watch Go or Sotsu yet.
Yeah, I can't. I tried to, because it was presented to me at first as a reboot, and then it was like, actually, this is a continuation. And I'm like,
It's
so you
literally
just
a sequel that
you just lied to everybody.
That you need to watch all of you need to have all of Higurashi, and then you need to read Umineko, and then you can watch Go and Soul
They just
Tzu.
lied about everybody. Like, that's a neat little thing that you could do for, like, I guess, like, people who have consumed all that content before. But if you're marketing it as a new thing for everybody to get involved with, and you massively spoil it, bro, I was pissed. I was like, bro.
But I mean, you're halfway there to being able to watch it now that we're almost done reading Umineko.
Do I have to? Do I have to also read the Bible and the Keys of Solomon and then there were none?
You didn't already read that?
Oh well. I mean, they talked about it, and then there were none in the middle of it. So I basically. Sorry, I was supposed to read the Key of Solomon. I forgot.
Studio Passion.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they've done a few other things. Oh, they did the Yuri's My Job one. A lot of harem ones. Miracle-chan.
Yep.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff from them. Minmod in the chat said Heavenly Delusion was also Disney Plus, another goated series. Yes, we watched that. It was a great series. I definitely know Minmod loves that. I always see you retweeting all the Heavenly Delusion stuff, and it's all good art, I think. It's all great. I have the manga. I need to read more of it at some point. But yeah, Disney Plus had some interesting choices when it comes to their anime. Pretty good choices. They don't get too many though, which is interesting. The Disney Plus, I think, is the one that got the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's dub, which I haven't watched yet still.
Oh yeah. I think
gotta,
some of our voice actors was in that.
We gotta check that out at some point. We also have to continue Go Rush at some point. But anyways, back to Umineko stuff. So Umineko. Next week we're gonna see Shannon probably killing everybody. Gonna have her official Joker moment. Everyone's gonna die. And Battler's gonna be to blame. It was all Battler's fault. And then somehow an explosion will also happen.
You're not gonna guess how episode 7's gonna end.
God damn it, dude.
It's gonna end with everybody being happily ever after at the Beatrice funeral.
I gotta know how Battler solved all this. How did you figure it out?
His solution, him solving it, quote unquote, was just him remembering, oh yeah, I did talk to Shannon at that one point. I said I was gonna show up next year and I kinda didn't.
And
Fuck.
then I remembered.
He's just like, oh yeah, I said that cringe shit, didn't I? I was trying to repress that, but she's right. I did say that. I did make that promise to Shannon, and now there's a lot of people. I did that.
And then I remembered. Bring out the GNC demons of love.
The key to everything was remembering that he sometimes says cringe lines to people, and then he said a cringe line to Shannon, and she took it seriously, and now everybody's dead. So I mean,
it really is love is the war.
Yeah, basically. All right. Any last minute closing thoughts or theories that we want to say before we wrap this up now?
Actually, I do have one thing.
What do you got? One more thing.
This is very impressive. Throughout the courses, everyone's terrible. How do they do it?
Everyone's terrible. Terrible. What do you mean? Who's terrible?
Like everyone's awful people. Like Kenzo, you see what he's done? Shannon's going to kill everyone.
I'm trying again.
Kenzo's crimes are a bit hard to match for everyone else. Let's be fair.
Like everyone's done some pretty decent crimes here. Okay, no one's holy, except for maybe okay, like Valerie did a little goof.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is that Battler is like the only one here who didn't actually do anything fucking wrong. Shannon is just over emotional.
Maria, Jessica,
I just
what Hideyoshi do? Hideyoshi say, "Hey, what I do? Hey, what was?"
Capitalist.
Wow, I mean, I'm just playing the game. What do you want from me?
There's like 3 people that somehow haven't done anything wrong, particularly.
I like how you did not include George in that list of people who didn't.
Listen, he's an incel. Okay,
we know his crimes.
His incel crimes. It's a crime for an insult,
Thinking he could make Shannon happy was his crime. That was his sin.
The whole thing pissed me off. I knew that it was coming, and I'm still mad about
Yeah,
it.
George's existence caused this actually too. If he wasn't here, Shannon wouldn't get with someone else, and we would have this whole thing solved.
Well, I mean, that's basically, like I said, it's Battler never came back. Shannon's got to move on. Cannon's not going to do it. Cannon's her brother, so she's not moving on to him.
George is the only
George is the only other option. So, you know, and then they start hitting it off, and then he proposes, but Battler's back that same year, so now it's all fucked. Joker moment, everybody's dying. It's got to happen.
And Shannon's like, this is the only person here. He's not the greatest, but I'll take it.
If Battler waited 1 year... Battler waited 1 year after, you know, George and Shannon got married, there'd be no issue. But no, now everyone's got to die.
I mean, it's Shannon and George. There would have been some issues, but.
Well, I mean, listen. George will find a way. George.
I like how Claire is so sure of herself. If it had just been 1 year late, sweetheart, let's be real.
I don't think there'd be again. As we're being shown, at least with George was like, "Oh, you want me to kill people for this ritual? Oh, I'm already ready to do it. I already killed somebody. Can I claim that body? I already did it. Shannon was like, we got to do something, so I just killed somebody. I just assumed that's what she wanted. I just would do anything for Shannon. Like Shannon has George wrapped around her finger at this point. Okay, it was not hard. It was not hard. All right, George could probably. You know, George would probably also abandon the Ushiromiya name just to be with Shannon. I would not doubt it for a second.
He would. He said that he would.
Yep.
Yeah, episode 4. He said, "You know, I'll kill everyone. Fuck it."
He would do it. He would do it.
I hate Shannon.
Why? Why I hate Shannon? Why you gonna be a hater?
Because it's what I'm good at.
You're gonna be a hater. Why can't you? Without love, it cannot be seen. Why can't you have some sympathy for Shannon? Don't you feel bad at all?
She's an annoying bitch.
What'd she ever do? She is a model servant. She would be the if you were visiting the Ushiromiya mansion, okay, you would be having bomb-ass tea served by her, okay, 24/7. It'd be great.
I would not. I'm not a tea drinker.
Okay, well, whatever you want to drink. She'd be bringing you Monsters, whatever the fuck you drink. I don't know what you drink. I don't know what you drink. She'd be bringing you G Fuel, yeah, in a card, fancy card.
You know?
What was that? Say that again?
She can't help that she's falling into the trad wife belief. It's okay.
Yeah. You know, sometimes after they're married,
totally have like a trad wife TikTok.
after they get married, George would discover the like Beatrice side of her, and he'd just be like, "Yeah, she just gets a little quirky every now and then, just a little quirky."
Pulls that out in the bedroom.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all right. What else do we have here for messages? Did I do that? Oh, that's a reference to the Shannon Battler thing. I think I like to think he really did mean it back as a kid. It was referring to Battler, even if he didn't fully understand the implications. I think it's such a good personification of feeling split between your different emotions and dreams and life goals. It's a love triangle in quotes, but where's the real self? ? And again, I match it so tightly to someone learning the magic of becoming an artist and abandoning being a quote servant. Ryukishi was a social servant before quitting once Higurashi became a hint. A social servant? Meaning like a social worker or something? What does this mean?
I think let's see.
Like a government worker or something like that, or?
I think so.
That's interesting.
Because I have heard that he's did like kind of that kind of social work before.
I mean that's an interesting like kind of parallel to draw with that, with Ryukishi used to having that kind of profession and then becoming an artist instead, because like I think towards how Shannon's got her side, who is the loyal servant, great at her job, very like formal, well-mannered and everything. Then you have the Yasu Beatrice side that's just like, yeah, but I'm gonna come up with OC lore for all these things with Maria, and then I'm gonna do some pranks on people and shit.
According to a translated business interview, he worked in retail for a few months and then took up a position as a civil service worker. Which
retail.
Civil service usually means it's government.
Retail works. That's how he came up with the idea of mass murder series. I see. I understand.
Wait, what?
He got tired of it. He got tired of it all.
If retail will make it do that to you.
Yeah, retail will do that. All right. I think we're about ready to wrap this up unless anybody has any final thoughts. Anything? Anybody? The stocks for episode 7 slowly going down this week, but hopefully they come back up in the last week of it. Hopefully they come back up. Now that I'm done with the epitaph bullshit.
I think they will.
You know, okay. Ari's just like laughing, like, "Oh, I know what's gonna happen. You guys are never gonna guess what's gonna happen. You're gonna lose your fucking minds next week."
It would be so funny if at this point they just completely went off the rails for the VN. It's like, oh, what? What's happening?
I feel like some of the people that have joined the Discord server would have said something by now if that was the case. I would hope.
Yeah, they probably would have warned us by now.
No, come on. They gotta keep in the spirit.
No, I've seen screenshots. It'll be fine.
Calling in Seek Sandra, like, hey man, can we get confirmation real quick?
Oh yeah, Mimos is the like witches. I don't know how you pronounce the name. The marriage, whatever, is basically a Dojin circle. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's a Dojin circle.
Baby's first Dojin circle.
And Anjay grew out of it, so she's like, "No, I'm on to better works of fiction." Okay.
What the hell?
Damn.
True.
All right. Well, we are done with the discussion for this week, and next week we will be talking about the end of episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch. We are almost done with Umineko When They Cry, the manga. Let me refer to the reading list to see how much longer we have. We basically have like 1 month left this month. By the end of this month, we should be done. Let's see. Where's my... I have the image on here, and I can never find it every time I'm trying to look for it. Here we go. Umineko schedule. Boom. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more weeks.
Hey, look, it's Erica. We haven't seen her in a while.
About Umineko. Listen, she'll show up eventually. Maybe not this episode, but, you know, next episode, I'm sure. Next episode, I'm sure. Who came up with the OC lore for Erica? I want to know, because that's pretty fucked up lore. A character OC that they've developed there.
In the canon, it's Feathering or Hachijo.
Oh no, I was more trying to think of like you know, did Maria come up with Erica? Is that like her evil version, evil detective version of things? But no, yeah. All right. Whew. Okay, we are done for this week. We did it, gamers, and we will see you all next week for the end of episode 7. Who will survive? Probably no one. Who will be the culprits? Probably Shannon. That's my theory, at least. Will we have Shannon kill Genji? Not Genji. Well, probably, maybe Genji eventually. But will she kill Kinzo? I'm hoping for Shannon to kill Kinzo. Honestly, I'm hoping for that. I want it. I want it to happen. I want it to happen. And we will talk to you all next week. Goodbye, gamers. Goodbye. Stay